hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so
Max,
far.
what does that sound like to you?
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it.
It's on our end. It's the
know.
Wi-Fi or the
Well,
network.
did you
But
know
I
I
thought
was
this
with
thing was, like,
USPS the
automatic.
whole time?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Keep your business in the know with USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
We get it. Attention spans just aren't what they used to be. Heads in social media and eyes on Netflix. But what do people do with their ears? Well, for one, they're listening to audio. Americans spend 4.4 hours with audio every day. Oh, and you want the proof? Well, you just sat through this ad that's now approaching 30 seconds.
All right, so we're
what
going
can you
to,
say to a
I
potential
believe,
customer in 30
based
seconds?
on what Max is saying, that
You
we
put
go
together a media plan
to
tailor-made
35
for
as
your
normal.
unique
Okay.
marketing needs. Advertise with Odyssey. Visit ads.odyssey.com.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Does it flip over?
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and
Yeah,
an
it
increase
picks up until like right as we get off
in
the air, it
may
starts
occur.
to
Before treatment,
it
your
starts
doctor
to
should
come
check for
down.
infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic.
If I remember right, you guys were up higher
Skyrizi.com
like
or
this.
call
We'll see once you get on.
1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body?
Huh?
That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Urban Air is where fun takes flight. With our awesome attractions, it's always an adventure. Visit urbanair.com today to find your local park and book your tickets, membership, or birthday. Urban Air, let them fly. Attractions vary by park.
Brought to you by Urban Air.
Traffic.
We have a stalled out vehicle right now, southbound on I-135, pretty close to Kellogg. Traffic volumes are picking up, so watch for a slowdown there. Traffic update from 98.7 and 1330 KNSS. I'm Jad Chambers.
Weather.
A pretty nice start to the weekend ahead. Friday, not as cold as early yesterday morning to start, and then warming up to a nice mild high of 65 degrees. Now, there is going to be a northwesterly breeze that's going to turn gusty at 10 to 25 miles an hour. Skies fair. With your Storm Track 3 forecast, I'm meteorologist Ronald Williams.
I'm here with your Rome Report. Now, I know we are in the midst of the NCAA tournament. That said, allow me to put on what my listeners have coined my Tokyo Dodger Gym hat. Yes, I'm an LA native. No, I am not a Dodger honk or a fanboy. So what I'm a fan of is people and teams who give me things to talk about, like the Dodgers sweeping the Cubs in Japan, like former NFLer Rodney Pete catching that foul ball while Dodger Mac Muncy went all Moises Alou Jr. on him and tried to Bartman Rod. Hey, Max, no offense, but that's on you, not Rodney. You were not able to make that play, and Rod was, which was a beautiful snatch grab, by the way. And the only thing better than the catch was him styling it and letting you know about it, Max. And no, losers, Rod did not bring his glove to the game. I texted with his wife, Holly Robinson Pete, who confirmed to me that gloves and helmets were, in fact, left on their seats. Get off Rod, get off the Dodgers, and appreciate the greatness of both. I'm Jim Rome.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Well, hey, good morning, everybody. Sorry we're a couple minutes late there. We quite literally blew away out at NAFSCR Park. It's a little windy out here. Not as cold as it was yesterday, if you were with us, but windier. That wind is supposed to die down just in time for the festivities today. But, man, we had to make a pivot, and we'll get started here by saying thanks to our friends at Homegrown right there at NAFSCR Park for letting us come inside. We're going to have some breakfast. We will give them plenty of publicity because we greatly appreciate them letting us come grab a table to do the show with you for the next 3 hours and 45 minutes today. A little bit abbreviated. Jacob Albrecht here alongside Tommy Castor. Max Power keeping things together for us while we made this pivot. We appreciate that, Max. Appreciate Tony out here.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by. The hamster must have died in the cage.
In attendance from all around. I bet you the attendance was higher this year than 2018. NAFSCR didn't exist then, so you had this place. It was packed most of the day, and then across, like around the corner at Union Station, like we kept looking for all the Mizzou fans. I was like, where are all the Mizzou fans?
Yeah.
They were all over there.
Yeah.
So that place, the only place I didn't make it down to yesterday was into Old Town, but I know they were doing fine. And then back on the south side of the arena, where everything was in 2018, it was also still packed. Like all the events and stuff were over there. So you had like 4 or 5 different large gatherings of people in and out of the arena. I think you spent more time in the arena than I did yesterday. I was out here doing TV stuff, but the crowds inside the arena were very representative, I think, which you don't always know what's going to happen inside the arenas at these regional sites. But we had, especially for the night session, we had big crowds in there.
Yeah, it was really good. In fact, I know that both sessions, like one was announced, I think, at like 14,500, and then the other one was just under 15,000. I believe that was the evening session. And so you had great representation for all 4 games yesterday, and you had fan bases. All the fan bases came out in full force. And then you had Wichita come out in full force as well. It was just a huge party when you're mixing in the locals and you're mixing in all the different fan bases. It was a great atmosphere.
So Saturday will be great. We know Saturday will be great. I'll be curious to see today without games. Of course, the practice sessions. But, a lot of those out of the Tech fans, there'll be more of them probably coming in today. The Drake fans will hang around. We'll lose the Mizzou fans as far as the big, fan bases that were here. But we have a lot of Houston fans in town. Gonzaga, not as many, but I wonder if they won't come in now for the weekend. So we'll see. But all of this stuff out here today is still happening. I know Odyssey will have a booth set up for the day. I mean, it's 10 to 10 again. Here we go.
Yeah, they've got FanFest activated. Parks and Rec do all day long, beginning at 10 a.m. And going until 10 p.m. tonight. And even though there are not actual games that are happening here in Wichita today, it's the day off. All of the other games at their other regional sites will be up on the big screen here at NAFSCR Park. They'll have, tons of activations with the food trucks and the beer trucks and all the yard games, the cornhole, all the different things that they'll be doing here at NAFSCR Park. That'll continue all day long.
Yeah, Odyssey will have its booth. DJ again today, I assume, Tommy. Yeah. I know the K-Witch crew, the promotions crew was out here yesterday. They've got like a cool mini golf game and some Papa Shot. And then there's a bunch of stuff from Parks and Rec. They had their games, cornhole you mentioned. and the bars. Everything will be here. It'll be awesome.
And it's going to be a lot warmer today as the day goes on. It'll be breezy.
Yeah.
But it'll be not
nice. Like it is right now.
Not like it is right now. It won't be quite as bad as the day goes on. I think it's supposed to die down here a little bit, at least mid-morning to early afternoon.
Yeah, it's about right. And remember, we're taking you live for the next 3 hours and change here. It will die down. I was checking this morning, right as we're getting off the air. So right about the time games start, and it'll be fun to get down here, watch a game, have a beer, whatever. That's when we should get a little better weather. And then tomorrow looks beautiful. I mean, tomorrow's going to be incredible. We'll talk more about tomorrow, the schedule of things as we make our way through. You had 2 blowout games in the early session here, and then 2 really good games late.
Yeah, thank goodness the evening session were better matchups, like competitively, because after the first 2 games, it was like, man, can we actually get a competitive game of basketball?
Well, you expected it with Houston, right? But not with an 8-9. And Gonzaga, who is, and we'll talk about them, who is a top 10-ish team by all the metrics, gets an 8 seed. And now most people I've talked to around here have picked Houston. And I guess it shouldn't surprise me as much as it initially did because we all watched them in the Big 12. That's going to be an incredible game tomorrow night. And then, Tech and Drake's going to be in. We're going to have 2 unbelievable games to get into the Sweet 16 tomorrow. And we get the evening session tomorrow, which is also interesting. But we'll have some of the evening games, and that'll be a lot of fun. So looking forward to all of that.
I'll tell you right now that Houston is not thrilled. They probably weren't initially anyway, but after yesterday, not thrilled that Gonzaga is an 8 seed because Gonzaga looked phenomenal yesterday.
They're a great team. I mean, they're a top 15 type team probably, but Houston's a top team. I mean, Houston has a claim to be the best team in the country. They had a claim at being the number 1 overall seed, so it's okay. I mean, look, you got to get through these teams anyway. I know are we really judging Houston based on, a round of 32 win this year, or are they kind of more of a Final Four or bust type team? I would say the latter.
I think they're a Final Four or bust type team. I think anything short of that,
got to get there, right?
Anything short of that is, I think, considered a postseason disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, and you know that I don't like doing that so much with the NCAA tournament because it is wild and wacky, and because you do get random matchups against teams like, Houston. I mean, like Gonzaga randomly. But I will say, like, internally, that's got to be the expectation for Houston. I don't think if they got busted, it would be a disappointing season. I think an unbelievable season.
Well, I think the question,
they'd be just disappointed with the outcome of the tournament.
Question then becomes, if not now, then when for the Cougars? I think that would be the major question with this team if they bow out early is, if not now with this team, with this coach, with the returners, with the program, if not now, then when?
I mean, Bill Self would have something to say about that. It took a while. I mean, that's the thing about the NCAA. It's why we love it, but it is so hard to make it through. It's what gives Coach K his claim to be the best that's ever done it, is because he navigated this tournament as good as you can. It's why Dan Hurley has been on top of the world, because we just can't imagine anybody making 2 runs through this tournament anymore. It's insane. Bill Self, if not the best, one of the best to ever do it, has done it twice with great teams almost this year, notwithstanding, great teams every year. So, Houston could be right back here next year. And again, I'm taking Houston over Gonzaga. I haven't looked at the early line on that game. I guess we can.
And I would imagine it's a closer line than what it probably everybody
5
expected.
points.
Yeah, I was, in my mind initially, I'm like, okay, if it's a Houston Gonzaga matchup in the second round, I probably initially would have thought closer to 10, maybe 8 to 9 points.
Oh, these spreads are great.
Five seems about right with the way that we saw Gonzaga perform yesterday.
There's not a big spread. There's not a double-digit spread on Saturday.
I love it.
We'll get into those bets. We'll get into today's bets too. You know what, Tommy? I'm going to need to do a little live betting on the. I didn't make my bets last night. We got so cut up. So we're gonna have to find some bets today for everybody too. If you have bets, if you have reads on things, you can leave us those. You can call them in at 869-1240, or you can leave them on our video streams. Of course, thanks for watching us on 12 News Connected, but then on Facebook, YouTube, X. If you have bets, let's make some together, because I forgot, and I will need to make some today. So let us know what you're thinking. We'll get into Kansas today. We'll get into some of the other headlines. The Chiefs, with another significant move we need to spend some time with. We'll have Jalen Thompson should be in.
Yeah, I think so.
He should be in the second hour here. So coming up in about an hour from now, we'll check in on the Royals. This will be the final check-in with Jalen before the season starts.
Before opening day.
Yeah. So we'll probably have some things we need to discuss there and get finalized with Jalen Thompson. That's all coming today. Again, we are live at Homegrown. I can't thank them enough for letting us pop over here and come inside. It was a mess.
Yeah, you know how I knew that it was going to be okay for us to come to Homegrown was because they brought us Pop-Tarts and coffee yesterday.
So
I'm like, okay, they're friendly. Like let's go ask for something more from them. And like it was here's the best part about it. Little behind the scenes action. It's 10 minutes before we go live. Wind's blowing everywhere. Our operations manager, Tony Dusing, is blowing away out there.
Somebody could have taken a picture of
He
us.
weighs like a $140, dripping wet. So he's like holding on for dear life. And we're like, this isn't going to work. Walk in, ask the folks here at Homegrown. And there was no deliberation from their part. Yeah. It was immediate. Absolutely. You're welcome to come in. You're welcome to take up a booth. And that's the kind of Wichita hospitality.
Yes.
That I know everybody coming in for this tournament always talks about. And we were able to be the recipient of that this morning. So that's fantastic.
Bear with us as we, talk about the community here in this first segment. Then we'll get to KU in the second segment. But the whole thing, like I couldn't stop smiling yesterday at all the sites I've been to over the years, all the places. And it's not just this. I mean, you can take it down to the TBT, Tom. It doesn't matter what it is. This is the largest scale thing, I think, for this part of the city to collectively get together on. But my goodness, like, and it's all like same team mentality, right? Like it's all, of course, there are businesses down here trying to make a living and do their thing, but all of it, like it's all, everybody just wants and is so happy to see our city put on display like this. That's the sense of community pride of it. It's just really cool to see and deliver time and time again on stuff like this. And as it was sunny and there were just people everywhere, and I was talking as I was doing news hits in the afternoon, and we had crews talking to everybody, every out of towner. I can't believe this. I talked to a guy from Georgia yesterday, a guy from Dallas, I just can't believe this. Like I didn't know Wichita was like this. Yeah. I didn't have any idea. And it's like that, that's the point, I think, and that's why everybody gets so excited that's from here to see this. And I love it. This is what it's all about. And I've never seen sites 2 times now like Wichita's been able to do this. And this time, Tommy, there wasn't the crutch of having Kansas or Kansas State, who we thought might be an option before the season, didn't have that crutch.
Yeah, you couldn't have that fallback of all of the local fans of both KU and K-State, being able to have their team play here. That didn't happen this year. And so, obviously there was a regional draw yesterday. You had folks driving in from Columbia, Missouri, and from Des Moines, Iowa for Drake. And, of course, the Texas teams and all of that. I'm glad, even though, Missouri didn't win, I would imagine there'll be a great Drake contingent tomorrow coming in from Des Moines. That's not a terrible drive. And then, of course, you've got both Texas Tech and Houston advancing on. I would imagine there'll be a good Tech contingent driving up from Lubbock. And that's the other thing, too, is that while there are fewer games here in Wichita tomorrow, there are only 2 instead of 4 like yesterday. It's on the weekend. And so you've got these fans that maybe couldn't take the time off work to come up for a Thursday game, but they could absolutely come to a Saturday game from Lubbock or Des Moines or even Houston and, be able to experience this in this city. And they basically got a trip to the Sweet 16 on the line for these teams.
I've got Tech people, because I'm from Tech's part of the world, that have already reached out and been like, hey, are you around? We're going to come up Saturday. Let's grab a beer. And I'm like, heck yeah. Come on up. Let's come see this party, and you won't believe where you are. You won't believe it. I mean, you wouldn't come into Wichita Old Town anyway and see it and be like, whoa, what is this? Because it's so aesthetically pleasing and really cool anyway. Now you're really not going to believe it. And look, is it bigger than yesterday? I don't know. But you'll have more people, I think, even from the community here that are able to come. I mean, if nothing else, if you're thinking about it, it's going to be a beautiful day.
It's going to be gorgeous.
That's the reason as much as anything, just especially with this NAFSCAR Park area now.
And our games are in the evening on Saturday, right?
They are. Yep. We got a 5 o'clock tip and a 7:30, basically. I think it's 5:10 and 7:40 So that will be, in my opinion, even better too, because you're a part of when all the games are happening, right? So you could have been there's 2 games that happen early, and then like all the rest of the games happen after 3:00. So, or it might even be after 4:00.
Yeah, you're right. So there are only 2 games before 4:00.
Yeah,
it's the McNeese Purdue game at 11:10, and then the Arkansas St. John matchup at 1:40, and then after that you've got 4:15, and then our game here, Drake Tech, Texas Tech at 5:10.
Yeah, after that you get like
after that.
6 games, I think, and so all of that's what made yesterday so cool, is because you had all the games on at all these different places. So it'll be a fun place to just take in the NCAA tournament as much as anything Saturday. So we'll get to all of that. It's going to be great. It's going to be great today too. This wind will die down. We had, God, you could have seen us. We were worried yesterday. We were like, it's going to be pretty windy. I mean, we were just concerned a little bit about the noise in the microphones.
Yeah.
And then we get out here and I'm like, ooh. And then, of course, you know how it goes. You're like, oh, no, it'll be
okay.
Yeah, we'll be fine. And then so we bring over the table, and forgive everybody, please forgive me the next 4 hours for my loss of voice from yesterday. Like we tried to put the tent up, the tents that visualize the tents, like that you have at events, the big the big overheads that we crammed that down and tried to turn it on its side to give us like a back wind block. And we had the weights on there. We're like, this is perfect. And then about 2 minutes later, it's like, man, the top of that thing's going to snap over the top of us here in about 5 minutes. And then at that point,
it did.
It
was pretty close to doing that.
And then it was at that point, it was like 10 minutes before the show. And we're like, we got to pivot somehow.
Yeah.
And then Tommy came over, talked to these nice folks at Homegrown who have become our friends because they brought us Pop-Tarts yesterday. Now they're really our friends. We're going to be having breakfast here.
What are you going to order for breakfast, by the way? What do you like at Homegrown?
It's the West Coast Wake Up.
Okay.
Which is a scramble, and then I'd get the onions out of there and put in green chilies.
Okay.
And then they have a green salsa verde that they have on, and I get some of that, and I heat it up, and I just smother that thing in that green salsa, get it every time I come here, and it is incredible. And then they put, the potatoes and stuff with it. It's so good.
And a little disclaimer, this is not an advertisement.
It is not, but
not paying for any of this. I mean, like, we just needed a place to do a show, and
but it will be because they were kind for us.
They were definitely great,
and we're going to give them some love because they have been so friendly and gracious the last couple of days, and they'll be open for lunch too if you come back. By the way, so we got about a minute here. Kansas is what we'll talk about next. We've been, going all roses and sunshine here because the Kansas conversation is uncomfortable. And yesterday's game was exactly what we saw the entire season from Kansas. So while it shouldn't surprise us, it was still as slap in the face with how frustrating the season has been for the reasons it has been frustrating. I mean, it was the perfect representation of their entire season. And now they got busted for the first time in the first round for the first time in a long time. They continue to not be able to reach the Sweet 16 other than the national championship year. In 2022, Kansas has not reached the Sweet 16, but that one time since 2018. We're going to get into all of that. What does it all mean? Big picture. Anything? We'll hit that next. Stick around, everybody. More Sports Daily live from Homegrown right outside Napster Park. We'll be right back.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless.
Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back in, everybody, to Sports Daily here. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor with you. We are live at Homegrown here in NAFSCAR Park. Appreciate them for letting us pop in here during the wind. The wind will die down just in time for the tournament, but it is windy right now out there. And we are having some fun. Kansas is not going to be a fun conversation. That's what we'll have. Before we do that, though, Tommy, did you catch you were over there in the arena yesterday? We're in and out of the media room. Catch what kind of coffee they had there in the media room?
Oh, I did that Prairie Fire.
They had Prairie Fire
Coffee.
Prairie Fire Coffee. We appreciate them always keeping us back at the Odyssey Studios, but we had them here in the arena too. That was nice. Thanks, Prairie Fire Coffee, for that. All right, Kansas. You don't even have to ask. Like if I told you Kansas lost that game, why do you think they lost it? I think we'd all have the answer. It's the same answer, and it's not like because they couldn't defend the 3-point shot, which is a problem for them, certainly. But the much bigger problem is what played through. They were in a position to win the game late, and they pooped their pants, for lack of a better and more. Where's the? Yeah, there is something else I would like to say there.
Yeah,
that for the lack of a better term, happens in the bed sometimes. You know what I mean? It's exactly, they had 6 turnovers. They had the lead with roughly 4 minutes to go and turned the ball over 6 times in 3.5 minutes. That is hard to do on purpose, let alone accidentally.
Right.
And it is insane to even they had a stretch where they got down, I think it was 12, and you were like, they're not going to win this game. And then they locked down defensively, did what they do, and they chipped away and they chipped away and they struggled offensively to make up the ground. There was a point where they had Arkansas scoreless for 4 minutes and they only made up 3 points, I think, in that stretch, but they were grinding it out, and that's what they do. They hit a couple shots, they get the lead, and you're like, all right, they're good. And then literally the thing that has happened to them in all of their big moments this year happened again, even more amplified than ever before. And it's like this. I mean, how is that your identity with older players? Hunter Dickinson was really bad in the game. He was a contributor.
He was really bad in the second half.
He was a contributor to the turnovers. He couldn't score.
Yeah.
And then he was turning it over. DeJuan Harris, who really did pick it up in the second half after he was off to a bad start, turned it over a couple of times. Zeke Mayo, those were the it just.
I mean, when the most consistent offensive threat that you have is AJ Storr, that's an issue. That's a problem for the Jayhawks. And look, I think that I've said it before. I'll say it again. It just is what it is. This particular Kansas team is the most unclutched team.
It's crazy.
That Bill Self has ever had.
And it's there are a lot of good reasons for that. DeJuan Harris is not a scorer. And the clutch for KU for years has been they've got guards that can go get buckets. They don't have that. Zeke Mayo can shoot, but he's too out of control with the ball to just go get buckets that way. Hunter Dickinson is not his skill set. And KJ Adams, who was talking to some KU fans last night, KJ Adams is great on most teams. But when you need buckets, it's hard for him, and that's been a problem for people. And I hate that for times it's been ever reflected back to KJ Adams, and we'll get to his injury in a second. But it's not him; it's the fit, because he's great. He's a great player. It's that they don't get what they need from other places, and so people look at him and they're like, "Well, why can't he go shoot a 3?" That's not his game, and so it was not a good fit. It was not a good fit last year, not a good fit this year. And so big picture, I'm actually not worried about it. I think that makes it mean less for the program. I think you had a lot invested. I think Bill Self loves these guys, and it just wasn't working. And now he's going to get to go start over. The portal players the last couple of years have not worked out well. That's the part we got to see, because now it's going to be probably – I mean, if KU's lucky, it will be 4 portal players, Flory Badunga, and Diggy Court off the bench next year. That will be the team. That will be the starting lineup. It did not work with portal players the last 2 years. So there are 2 things happening. 1, you get a reset, which is a good thing. But 2, now you've got to go do something. Remy Martin was a great portal player in the end. He wasn't during the season because he was hurt. But what are you going to do?
I mean, I do think that there is a pretty decent chance that this team is going to be built around Darren Peterson. I know he's a freshman.
That doesn't work.
I know but he's the biggest, highly touted freshman.
They can have a freshman They can have a freshman that's the best player.
But I
can't have the freshman be the clutch guy that they got.
What I'm saying is that I think that the roster construction for Self will be, how can we provide the supporting pieces to make Darren Peterson as successful as possible? That's the way that I think you have to look at going and attacking the portal. I think you have to look at that and figure out, okay, what do we do to amplify Peterson and make sure that he is the most successful freshman that we've ever had on this team. Especially considering that more than likely he's a one and done type guy. He's the highest recruit that, Bill Self, I think, has ever had in his time at Kansas. And so we've seen that pan out before. We've seen it not pan out before for Kansas and for the Jayhawks. And, this is going to be one that I think it's going to be that much more essential for Self to figure out, how do you put the pieces around him to make sure that they have a lot more success than they have this year.
That just can't be he can be your best player. Grady Dick was Gatorade National Player of the Year. That is company reserved for some of the best players of all time. But they didn't ask Grady Dick to be that dude. right? They let him go out and be himself, and honestly, he was even a little bit reserved. But you like Badunga, Peterson, okay, but they still are going to have to Bill Self should probably. If I'm Bill Self, I've got an arrival here to Wichita here pretty quick, so I can come get a look at Bennett Sturts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's going to be that kind of thing that they have to do.
Can we talk about Bennett Sturts for a second?
Jerome Tang was here yesterday, by the way.
That dude is outstanding, and he looks so unassuming.
Ice water.
Looks unassuming. He looks like you and me, right? Like, and he's fearless. Like watching him in that game last night. I mean, he was getting to the bucket, and even when he wasn't like shooting unconscious from three, which he was. He had like a one-footed floater that went in for three that he nailed. When he wasn't doing that, he was getting to the rim. And then when he wasn't even shooting, he was distributing. And I mean, that kid, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he follows Ben McCollum, if McCollum goes somewhere, if they can pay him or whatever. Because I think he's loyal to his coach,
I
right?
do too. I don't think McCollum's going to go anywhere yet because I think if he waits a year, he can get even a better job. If he goes, he might want to stay at Drake. You never know. Guys wait that long time to get in there, and Drake probably feels a lot more like his comfort zone in Division II than a lot of places would. So that's hard to predict. A kid from Missouri should, like K-State and KU and probably Mizzou, should be all over it, at least trying to figure it out. Now, I'm not saying tamper. I'm making jokes, but like you've got to go after players like that, especially if yourself. Maybe less so Tang, but especially if yourself, because you're going to have the flair, right? With Peterson and even Badunga, who Badunga flashed last night, they have got to keep him around. That has to be top priority. That alley-oop where he went up and got it on a really bad pass was wild stuff. But you got to have those guys. Diggy Coit will give you something, but it's going to take get, I mean, what do you want to call it? 3 of the top 20 transfer type guys, I think, to satisfy the need for the fan base to feel good. But they had that this year, and AJ Storr and Rylan Griffin were supposed to be the saviors. And honestly, the issues that they had, Tommy, it's not like Bill Self didn't go try to attack those issues.
And he said that in postgame. He said that he went out and got Griffin and Storr, and not just those guys. Shaq Moore, Diggy Coit.
Shaq Moore was hurt. I mean, that's
he went out and got a couple of guys, to be contributors,
but not even contributors.
To be a core in the
shooting
starting lineup.
threes is your problem, and being a clutch shot maker is your problem, which they were last year, and Bill Self knew that. He went and got like the 2 top dudes.
I think it's just fair to say he missed. Like they swung,
collectively they all missed.
And they missed the transfer guys, and you can't. Unfortunately, you don't have the luxury of being able to make changes once you get them in and like all of that. You just got to get ready for next year. And it was a bad roster collection. It was a bad, just overall makeup of this team. I mentioned like super unclutch. There hasn't been a Kansas team that I can remember, at least since I was a kid. There were a couple of not amazing years for Roy Williams, but at least in the Bill Self era, where in a close game down the stretch, I felt less confident in Kansas doing anything. Like, in fact, I felt like they're more likely to not get it done than they are to figure out a way to get it done. There were a lot of firsts this year for this Jayhawks team, and very few of those firsts were good.
I can remember one team that was as unclutch as this team, last year's team.
True. Yeah. But it wasn't as magnified last year because
we didn't have any expectations.
They were preseason number 1 this year, right?
I know, which, by the way, another nugget. I don't remember if you sent me this or TJ sent me this, somebody sent me this. What had they been the preseason number 1 5 times and
never made it to the Sweet 16?
Never made it to the Sweet 16. Although I will contend, I believe they were preseason number 1 the Doak and Dot year. And I have never been as certain about a college basketball team winning a national championship as I was that team was going to win a national championship. So that's a little bit of an outlier there, but it's been that has been very, very difficult to withstand. They are the second team, I believe this according to ESPN, second preseason number 1 to lose in the first round, joining only themselves back in 2005.
Well, and another first is the fact that, it's been 19 years since they were eliminated in the first round. And you have to go all the way back to when they got bounced by Bradley in the first round of the NCAA tournament to go home. And I was trying to figure out last night, I was thinking about all the different, there have been several early tournament exits for Kansas over the years in the Bill Self era. And I thought, well, was it the Northern Iowa game? Well, no, that was a second round game. Was it the VCU game and Shaka Smart? No, that was a second round game. It's all the way back to 2006 with Bradley, the year before 2005. That was when they were upset by Bucknell in the first round. So you have back-to-back first-round exits for the Jayhawks. And, after that, the team settles in. A couple years later, they win a natty with Self over Calipari's Memphis team. And then it's just been a streak of wins in the tournament where I think it was 17 straight years that Bill Self has advanced past the first round until yesterday.
And Arkansas is good. I don't want to take anything away from Arkansas either. Kansas was in a position to win that game. I thought Cal did a really nice job in that game. They did something for a large port. It took Kansas a half and a half of a half to adjust to what Cal was doing to them offensively. I don't think Kansas was ready for what Arkansas did.
They weren't.
They took a center who averaged 6 points a game, and he had by I think the 12-minute mark of the second half, he had taken 17 shots, and he was listen, you live with the shots he was taking.
Yeah,
right. He was taking like 18-foot jumpers and acting like Steph Curry out there with his floater. And they were falling, and credit to them, but Kansas adjusted to that. But I thought Cal had a nice game plan.
And Arkansas didn't beat the Jayhawks by shooting a bunch of threes and looking good. That's not their game. And so that wasn't the way that they beat the Jayhawks. I did think that, Bill Self adjusted in the second half to a zone, and that helped.
Oh, yeah.
That helped to really lock down defensively and try to limit what Arkansas wanted to do. Because I'm watching the first half, and I'm like, man, Kansas gives up 47 first half points. They will not win this game if they do that in the second half. And they didn't do that in the second half.
Not in the beginning.
They locked down defensively.
Well, yeah, because they do. They go to the zone. You got to shoot your way out of a zone. Arkansas doesn't shoot. They probably should have been zoned up earlier, I guess. And they were, Hunter Dickinson was in foul trouble. He wasn't playing well anyway. So then you had this lineup with Flory and KJ that was working. Like it was working. And then it just fell apart real quick. KJ Adams, sounds like an Achilles.
Bummer.
If there was ever a player that deserved it less, right? That's a bummer. That's a tough way to see that go down. All right, we're going to come back. We'll get into some Chiefs talk in the second hour. We've got Jalen Thompson. Matt Hamilton, general manager of the Wind Surge, will preview their season with us in the next hour, too. Don't go away.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Is the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back, everybody. As we start hour number 2 here from Homegrown, our friends letting us come over. We are having a little breakfast in the breaks, so forgive us if we've got, food in my teeth. Can't tell.
It was pretty good. I mean, we kind of shoveled it in.
We got about halfway home. We'll get the rest on the next break. We appreciate them so much for letting us come over here, as the wind was just a little bit too much for us here in the first part of the day. But it'll die down when the festivities down here in downtown Wichita get kicking up again. Hopefully you're able to come down. If you see us out and about, say hi. We'd love to see you down here. We're proud of everybody for putting on such a great event. Yesterday was perfect. Saturday is going to be perfect. And I think today will be fun. I think it'll be a good time. All right, 3570 Golf Co. Tommy, it's Friday Fit. We always talk about it on Fridays. You have been repping some of their gear. So tell us about that first, and then we'll tell you about a giveaway. So stay tuned here because you're going to have a chance at a giveaway to some great local apparel.
Yeah, so 3570 Golf Co., if you are unaware, they're a locally owned, family-owned golf apparel company based right here in Wichita. All of their designs of their clothing, their polos, their hoodies, all of that invoke the feeling of this part of the country. We talked in the last hour about Wichita hospitality here for the NCAA tournament. That's what their apparel feels like. It feels like home. It feels like the heartland, the plains, the Midwest, all of that. And their designs of their clothing reflect that. And so even if you're not necessarily a golfer, and even if you're not looking for golf clothing, their designs on their polos and everything that they've got, great for work, great for play, great for all of it. And so you can check them out online at 35x70golfco.com.
So you have that, and then we have a chance for you to win some apparel from 3570. So we have a $120 gift card right now that you can get your hands on. This contest ends today. Is the last day for it.
It does. It actually ends at 11 a.m. So as soon as we're done off the air today, that's when it closes.
So your chances to enter are with us on the air today, and that's it. And all you have to do to enter is text. It's a text contest. So the keyword is golf, and you send that to 20357. You text the word golf to 20357, and you will have a chance at a $120 gift card to 35 by 70 Golf Co. Message and data rates apply. You can enter once per day. And again, you have about 3 hours to get that entered. Golf 20357. We talked a lot of tournament there in hour number 1. We'll go back to Kansas before the end of the show. So we'll have that coming for you. We'll talk more about the games that were played here in Wichita as well. 2 guests coming up. We've got Jalen Thompson coming up this hour to talk Royals. And then a little more baseball talk at 9:40. Matt Hamilton, general manager, in that full-time role now this year, is going to come over and get ready because their season starts. The Wind Surge season starts soon. So what do they have going on? What do you need to know about their season? We'll talk to Matt Hamilton about that coming up in the 9 o'clock hour as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We're going to talk some Chiefs this hour, Tommy, as they make a big move yesterday. Again, they are having a really interesting offseason as Charles Omenihu is back now. So we'll go into that story. But before we talk Chiefs in the next segment, we got to take a minute for one of the sadder stories we've covered here. Dan Israel, who is, if you've listened to this show for as long as I've been a part of this show, now a decade or so, has been our Chiefs insider. He died yesterday after a long battle with cancer. We had known Dan was fighting it pretty hard this past season. There are times he would call into this show, and his only ask was to move him back a segment because he had a cancer treatment that he was dealing with. Dan is the biggest Chiefs fan, biggest Chiefs Kingdom fan, I think, as much as anything that I've ever met. I've never met anybody with more energy for the thing that they do, and he loved it, and we loved him, and I know Chiefs Kingdom loved him, and he was such a big part of that radio network, which is unlike any other in the NFL, and we're so sad to hear the news that he died yesterday.
You and I deal with a lot of people in the media day in and day out. We work with quite a few of them. We are colleagues with a lot of them, come in contact with a lot of different people in this industry. And I don't know if there's anybody out there that I have encountered that was so generous and great than Dan Israel was with us and with everybody for that matter. And it would be really easy for somebody in his position, you know, being the executive producer of the Chiefs radio network, the guy who runs the ship, like keeps everything pointed in the right direction, for a team that has had tremendous success in the last few years, multiple Super Bowl championships, dynasty, all of that, to say at some point, you know, to people like you and I here in Wichita, not even their primary market, yeah, I don't have time for you. Yeah, I don't have time to do, you know, a segment or come on your show or talk about the Chiefs or whatever. And that was never the case with Dan Israel, ever.
Every week of the season, every year, again, I believe as long as I've been doing Sports Daily, it's how I met Dan. I got to know Dan is through the show. I would imagine that he was doing it with Bruce even before then. Mitch jumps on with the KNS guys, and I feel terrible for Mitch. These guys were great friends.
Yeah. I mean, they'd worked together for multiple decades.
It's also a situation where somebody is remembered as fondly as he was, and I think a lot of people were aware of the battle he was facing, but it never bled through to what he was so passionate about. And what he was so passionate about was Chiefs football, and that energy for Chiefs football, it just bled through everything, and it was such a perfect place for him to be on that radio network so that he didn't even have to hide it, right?
Yeah.
He just was so fired up for that team. And it was so fun for me over all these years to like experience the emotions of whatever had happened the week before, good, bad, like whatever it was. That was always the sense you got from Dan every Tuesday morning forever when he would come in, is just to be either devastated or fired up or overtly optimistic or anything. It was just always such an a raw feel for what the kingdom was feeling.
It was authentic.
It
was authentic and genuine, and he brought that on a weekly basis to us, and I'm sure to everyone that he talked to. And that's another thing too. You talk about how generous and gracious he was with his time. There are a lot of roles in this industry where you've got to be kind of muted sometimes.
Right.
You can't totally be authentic all the time. We try to be as authentic as we possibly can on this program, but I'm sure there are some real opinions that occasionally you can't express the way that you maybe would want to. Totally. Maybe 100% of the way. Like you can maybe get 95% of the way, but I don't know if you can ever get fully 100%. Dan was fully 100% all the time.
The Chiefs were so lucky to have him. Because you can't openly. I mean, you can root for the home team. That's not what I'm saying. I think sometimes that gets overplayed, but like to just be in a position and have a job where you can very openly wave the flag. It was so perfect, such a perfect fit. The Chiefs were so fortunate to have him too, because he directed and stirred the drink on what has become, I think, the premier radio group in the NFL. And there are some really good ones, and recent success has a lot to do with it, but there are no more. You don't hear more audio than you hear from the Chiefs radio network across the league. You just don't. And that's a big part of the production value that they've always had. They've always done a really good job. I listened to a lot of Chiefs games, especially when I first moved here, because I would be on the road. I'd be driving back from somewhere on a Sunday, and I would flip on and just go through the Chiefs radio network. And we're fortunate here, obviously, to have them be a part of our Odyssey team here in Wichita, and have them be a part of our family too. Very, very lucky to have that.
Yeah, the other thing too, with Dan, and I thought about this a lot last night after the news came out, is that it would have been so amazing for him to go out with a three-peat. And I know at the end of the day that's not the most important thing. He had been with that organization through really, really bad times, and he reveled in how great they had become, and the fact that he got to be a major part of the dynasty. And I know we saw
his rings.
Yeah, we saw the statements released from Clark Hunt and from Andy Reid last night, and all of that. I mean, it wasn't just he was close with the radio network folks like us and the people inside the Chiefs radio network. Our colleagues in Kansas City at 96.5 The Fan. I know he was close with all of them. He was close with the Chiefs family internally as well. And, so this loss is profound, and it extends beyond just us on the broadcast side. It's definitely organizationally felt as well.
Yeah, and that's that's the beauty of a network, is you get that. Andy Reid, I love Dan Israel. He'll be missed by the Chiefs organization and never forgotten. He will not be forgotten. I mean, he's going to have a really cool legacy there. His legacy will be with the Chiefs forever, which is great. And which Dan made that his life's mission professionally. Yeah. So we're real sad about it. We appreciate all the nice comments people have sent because of people hearing him, knowing him through this show. It's a bummer for everybody, but rest in peace to Dan Israel. He will be, organizing something up in heaven, giving us a call, looking down on the Chiefs, partying hard.
I'm sure he'll be given insider interviews up in heaven.
Yeah, he was
next season.
If you go and just look at some of the stories online of how he helped people, like from all walks of it up there in the media world, it's fantastic. So we will miss Dan a great deal this coming season. I know Chiefs Kingdom all will. So we wanted to spend just a second here to acknowledge what happened yesterday and pay as much of a tribute as we can. I don't even know how you do that to somebody who's meant so much to a community and an organization like that. But Dan would have a lot to say about this offseason. So in his honor, let's talk about this offseason next. Chiefs make another move. They are positioning themselves, I think, Tommy, to get back. They're running it back again. They didn't get it done, but they were one game short. Again, we've talked about it. A little bit of overplay on how far they've fallen. They lost in the Super Bowl. So they're running it back. We'll talk about it next.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back in, everybody, to Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor with you live here in hour number 2. We'll have Jalen Thompson in next segment to talk a little Royals, so stick with us for that. Matt Hamilton of the Wichita Wind Surge will join us in the third hour that we'll have live with you for 4 hours. Tommy, we got some video comments. Let's get to those. We appreciate everybody for commenting on the show. You can always do that, by the way, on our Facebook, YouTube, or X streams. If you're watching us on 12 News Connected, you want to get in touch with us, just shoot us a message here. Our Facebook commenters, I believe we've got a couple of scams from some bots commenting on Facebook. So if you're on there, I would suggest that you do not enter the contest.
Yeah, maybe don't do that.
That Taslima Vlog or Hachib Asan are asking you to vote for your team.
Yeah, don't click on the link that they
Yeah,
posted
don't do
on
that.
Facebook.
Those are spam, and we don't have time to go clean those up right now, so don't do that. But we are getting some comments on YouTube. Austin sending his condolences. Austin making fun of my green. Listen, yeah, I get it. I forgot it on St. Patrick's Day from the Blarney breakfast. This was Austin. This was a layer. This was a layer when we were planning on being out in the windstorm. I couldn't have even told you what color I grabbed this morning because it was just going to be a layer. Now it's not. So yes, it's green, and that's funny that you remember that I forgot green on St. Patrick's Day, making up for it. Rick commenting on Sturts for Drake, who was here and put on a show in their win over Mizzou. Said grew up loving K-State. They didn't have interest in him at the time. I mean, I don't think that's that crazy, but
I'm sure they've got interest in him now.
Jerome Tang was here yesterday. Yeah. We'll just say that, and he was here ahead of that game.
So wasn't here for the 2 early games.
That's correct. So you can infer what you would like.
He's buddies with Grant McCaslin, so I'm sure that there was kind of a double.
I would imagine it. Honestly, it probably had more to do with Grant McCaslin than anything else. However, handy that you can get a look at a player like Sturts. And I would imagine that he will have a lot of suitors the way that he's played this year, and he may have no interest in those suitors, and that's perfectly great too. But Drake is an incredible story, and they won here yesterday. But let's talk Chiefs here. Okay. 2 things on this Charles Omenihu signing. 2 reasons I love it. I love that they brought him back. Their defense was much better once he returned from injury last year. B, it's a 1-year, $7 million deal. How in the world did Charles Omenihu not have a bigger market when we're seeing pass rushers paid the way we have seen them this offseason? How in the world did he not have a bigger market than 1 year, $7 million?
Well, I think it's an injury concern. I mean, I think there's the concern out there that, he's not going to be able to produce consistently because he's often injured, or at least he has been. I would imagine that's driven his market down a little bit.
I get that. Man, if that's the only case, then the Chiefs, they just keep getting, I don't want to call it lucky. And look, because there was a time where it didn't seem like a nice breakup. Omenihu seemed angry.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's going to be any happier now that he got a 1 year, $7 million deal, but it's back with the Chiefs. I find that fascinating.
Well, and I think that, you've got to, from a business perspective, be kind of shrewd, and understand that with Omenihu and with the Chiefs, they sat back and waited, and it was kind of like, who's going to blink first? And does that mean that, there's all warm, fuzzy feelings from Omenihu towards the Chiefs? Probably not, but that was the market, right? And it's a business negotiation. And at the end of the day, your value is what somebody is willing to pay.
Always.
That's the way it always is. And if there weren't a lot of other suitors out there, and it came down to a 1 year, $7 million deal for Omenihu, and that's what the Chiefs were willing to do, and there weren't better suitors out there with more money for him, you've got to take what's on the table for you.
Another thing that seems to fall the Chiefs' way this offseason. So 1 year, $7 million. Max told us yesterday they were around 16. I keep thinking they're not going to be able to do this. They're going to need to be able to sign rookies and do all these things. But they have essentially, outside of Justin Reed now and Joe Tooney, brought everything back. Am I missing anybody?
Derek Nottie.
Okay. They will have a draft to do that. Then they lose D-Hop, but they gain Rashee Rice at least for a little bit. So
they lost. I mean, this is, not a huge deal. They lose Samaje Perine. So that's 1 2.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that one.
Yeah.
But it's so you don't lose. Reed is a big loss, but I did not think they were going to be able to keep as much as they've kept. Tooney is the biggest loss, but you've had a plan already. We've seen the plan for Tooney. Now we see a Minihue come back, and we've been talking about their need for pass rushers. I don't think that changes, by the way. I still think they need one. But now I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't know what they'll do. Like, they do not have a clear need, I don't think, on the team right now, which is always a great position to be in when you're drafting, especially when you're drafting late in the first round, because somebody will fall to you. I don't think they have a clear need right now.
I mean, look, I think that I think you need to have a contingency plan offensive line wise.
Well,
I mean,
no,
right? So, I mean, I think
yeah.
I think you can still classify that as a need.
I don't.
It's okay to classify that.
Yeah,
as
it's a need. It's a need. That's not what I'm saying. Well, I guess my point is, like, if you don't have a clear draft need, and you don't have a million holes to fill, if there is a left tackle that you love early in this draft, sell your draft out and go get them. Now's the time.
Are you saying trade up?
Trade up.
Trade up as high as you can to get your guy?
Yes. If you love one this year, you move up and you get that done. And in a worst case, well, let's not say a worst case. In a best case, Moore plays left tackle. This rookie plays right tackle. In a bet, which in the NFL, somebody's going to get hurt at some point. You've got 3. You can let this rookie or whoever get acclimated. It gives you a backup. Like, it's if you're going to do it now that you don't need a pass rusher, you can always draft a pass rusher. But now that there's not a clear, we don't have one because you got a Minihue back. If you were ever going to do it, now's the time. But you have to love the player. You can't just do it to do it. They would have to, in their evaluation process, go through it and be like, that's the guy. Like, that is the guy, and go get him. I think this would be the year to do it.
I wouldn't mind them looking at, potentially secondary early on in the draft too. And that could very well be a cornerback as, again, another added piece or contingency plan. If it happens where you end up losing Trent McDuffie, if you can't get him extended, then you've got, more young depth to kind of build back.
I don't know if I'd want to see him trade up for that, though.
I wouldn't suggest they trade up for that necessarily, but I wouldn't mind, at 31.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If there's a guy that you like at cornerback or even at safety, because you don't have Justin Reed anymore and you're relying on a couple of other guys, back there this coming season, to have an added depth piece that could transition and turn into something more.
The easiest answer is just go best player available there. I mean, you can use somebody in the secondary. You could use the linebacker. You can always use a pass rusher. I don't think it'll be wide receiver now. I don't think it will be running back, but an offensive lineman. Like, there are a lot of places they could just take. I mean, tight end, if they don't, and don't sleep on it, right? It wouldn't be a terrible option, but I think that all of those are on the table. I think you could do any of those things, and it would be perfectly fine. You just take the best player. That's what great teams do all the time when they don't have clear needs. And we went into this offseason thinking the Chiefs were going to have clear needs. They couldn't bring everybody back. They weren't going to be able to do that because there were too many of them. Well, they've lost 2 of them, and everybody else is back. I didn't expect that. I didn't think there was any way that could happen. Now, I'm not even saying that it was like the best case scenario for the Chiefs this offseason, because I don't think that's true either. They could have landed a big time left tackle, and none of these other players would have come. And that was probably the best case scenario. But they have so many options now. They can literally do anything on draft day.
I mean, I certainly didn't think that, when we're sitting here towards the end of March and the league year has, started and free agency is underway and all of that, I certainly didn't think that we'd be sitting here talking about it's essentially by and large the same team minus Joe Tooney and Justin Reed. Certainly didn't think that.
No, it didn't seem financially possible.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like that was anything. We didn't even think Trey Smith was coming back. I mean, when this all started, we were like, yeah, Trey Smith's going to be gone. And then they tag him and you're like, okay, maybe not. And then you see Nick Bolton get signed. And then you see, who was next after Bolton? And then you see, Minihue was the most recent. And then it was just like one after, Juju.
Yeah.
Hollywood Brown.
Yep.
You're like, okay, well, they're bringing everybody back. You don't need to bring back D-Hop because you have Rice coming back. It's like, okay. I guess
of course, Travis Kelce announces he's returning for another year.
I guess they are going to get them all.
Yeah.
And it's so, and they have a decent, they have some depth at safety. I think that one is not as urgent.
I think the question then becomes, if your roster is by and large the same as it was a season ago, yeah, they made it all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They were kind of exposed in the Super Bowl by the Eagles. The Eagles are damn good.
Yeah.
But we also know that there were probably, conservatively 4 or 5 games that they maybe should have lost throughout the course of the season. How do you mitigate that from happening next season?
Get healthy
with mainly the same personnel. You can't bank on that.
Well, no, but you also can't bank on all the bad luck with health they had last year.
Every team has bad luck with health.
Do, including the Chiefs, but that was as bad as they've ever had it. And so I think that's a part of it. I look at it this way, maybe to take that a step further. The Chiefs that we saw in the final month of the season is a very different team than we saw in the first 2 months of the season, in a good way. Like, they were way better when they got healthy, way better. And so if, are you going to go through a season and lose all your receivers again and have all these injuries? No, probably not. Not that same type of collection, right? And so I think that's what you bank it on. And you have to be better on the line by the time you potentially get to another Super Bowl. And that I don't know that they can go do anything more than what they've done. And now you got to you've got your cards, you got to play them now. Or, again, if you think that guy is there, and that's more of a long-term move, you just go be done with this same thing we've been doing every offseason now for about the last 5, which is looking for a left tackle.
Well, so let's take a look at the offense then. I'm talking as a whole, and the entire offense, not broken down by unit. If everything remains the same, and let's say they don't draft anybody of significance on the offense, and they put all of their draft picks or the main top ones on the defensive side of the ball, going into this season, in your mind, is this offense better, worse, or the same as they were a season ago when they were league average?
Better, because Xavier Worthy has now found his stride. The one thing I'll say is we got to see how Rashee Rice comes back from injury, and we need to see what his legal status is. But I think going into this year, it's better, because you would think Hollywood Brown is back, obviously, which he didn't play for the first part of the season, and Worthy has developed now. So I would say better. I don't think, now that we've seen that offensive line last year play, it's hard to imagine they'll be worse on the left side. I think the worst case scenario is they're the same, right? So that let's even say that didn't change. They didn't get any better there. Now you have Worthy and Rice potentially out there together. Isaiah Pacheco is healthy. Yes, I would say the offense is better than the offense we saw at the beginning of last year.
I'm a little more measured on that. I think that as of right now, it's going to be about the same. And because I think that it's
the same as we saw at the beginning of the year?
Well, I think it's a downgrade on the line, I think. And time will tell how Jalen Moore pans out, but I'm going to call it a downgrade for now because we just don't know. He started 7 games in his entire NFL career. We just don't know about him. And I think that there's still a major question mark right next to Jalen Moore. Is that Suamataia? Is that Wanye Morris? Will they be effective? What will that look like? All of that. So I think that right now you can say that until proven otherwise, the offensive line moves are a downgrade from having Joe Thuney as an anchor on the left side of the line. And so if the rest of the offense is the same personnel, and I know healthy, but the same personnel, you didn't really add anybody of significance from this last season to this year. Elijah Mitchell, he's not even anybody of significance.
No.
I think overall, it's probably, even if the offense and the skill positions got slightly better, I think it's a wash.
Are you saying the offense we saw at the end of the year, or the offense we saw, during their stretches where they were getting lucky for a few weeks?
Well, I'm just talking personnel wise. I'm talking.
No, I know, but which offense though? Because I think it's this. I think if you want to say it's the same as the ending offense, yes, but it's not the same as the beginning offense, because the beginning offense didn't have Hollywood Brown or Isaiah Pacheco on it, right? Those guys were hurt.
No, I mean, they had Isaiah Pacheco for the first handful of games.
But I'm talking about in that stretch where they weren't playing well offensively, right? In that stretch in the middle where they were getting lucky to win these games and their defense was carrying them.
But even all the way back at the very beginning of the season.
And they didn't have Rashee Rice.
If you remember, like everybody was healthy at the beginning of the season, and they barely beat the Ravens. Like it was a toe over the line by Isaiah Likely. Otherwise, the Chiefs don't win that game. They very nearly lost to the Bengals in week 2. Like these guys were healthy outside of Hollywood Brown, who they didn't have at all. They had everybody at the very beginning of the season.
They didn't. What game did Rashee Rice get hurt in?
Like week 4, week 3, week 4. I'm talking like the very beginning of the regular season.
The offense,
the personnel was still there.
The offense that we saw that really concerned us last year did not have Rashee Rice, did not have Isaiah Pacheco, and did not have Hollywood Brown. So that's what I mean. This offense will be better than that offense. Will it be better than the offense that ended the season? I couldn't tell you that. I don't know.
I'm not sure that it's a better offense than what they started last season with. I think it might be the same. And that's not the end of the world, but I don't think it's like mind-blowingly better than the way they started last season.
Yeah, Rashee Rice basically played 3 games. He got hurt at the very beginning of the Charger game. So he had 3 games. Their offense scored 27, 26, and 22 points in those games. So certainly against the Ravens and the Bengals, it was better, and then he was really good. But you know, I guess my offensive concerns came at injury in the middle of the season. But I do think, and the offensive line is the right question, but I look at it more as, and that I take from the end of the year, I guess, too. Like, does it need to be better than it was with Joe Thuney at left tackle or better than it was with Joe Thuney at left guard?
Well, and because here's the other thing I think about. If I'm going to say, if I believe that right now, I'm not going to say the offense is worse than they were a year ago. I just think that it's probably a wash right now because I think the offensive line play got worse.
Yeah.
And I think, if fully healthy, all the skill position players might be slightly better. So I think it kind of balances itself out. But I do think as of right now, as it stands, the defense is probably worse.
The defense got worse. Yeah.
So overall,
I'm with you.
Overall, as a whole,
but
if it's a wash on the offense and a downgrade on defense, then there were. I mean, like the personnel wise,
they haven't had their draft yet.
You're right.
And
that's always turn that around with the draft.
Yeah. And the other thing is, and this is the better point, and one we've been discussing for a long time with the Chiefs. Even if they're slightly worse, we didn't foresee that being an opportunity this offseason. And even if they're slightly worse, they were still able to get to the Super Bowl. You're going to take your chance with Mahomes, Kelsey, Reed, if you know you've got the ability to still get to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, yes, they may be the same team they were a year ago. The same team for a year ago could absolutely win a Super Bowl next year. They almost won a Super Bowl last year. The Eagles are taking a step back. The Eagles have lost some players. So I think all in all, for me, the point is, like, I have been impressed with what they've done because I think where they are now, I didn't think they had any chance to be there by this point. And they've been able to retain way more players than I thought they would. And again, if you ask me if I would take a lot of this or have Ronnie Stanley, I think I'd take this option. I do. I think I would. Ronnie Stanley we were putting too much into that.
I'm temporarily for now, just tempering my expectations just because I want to see the way the draft plays out. I'm fine with the returners that are coming back and all of that overall. I'm not super excited about this team's makeup right now.
But that was never going to be an option. I mean, you should be excited because they've got Mahomes. They got a chance to win a Super Bowl, but the Ravens got better. The Bills got better. A lot of teams around them are getting better too, and we'll see how they navigate that. All right, when we come back, Jalen Thompson. We'll talk a little Royals baseball when we return.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
On KFH. And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Jalen Thompson with us here. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor. We are live from the NCAA tournament down here in NAFSCR Park. We are actually inside. Our friends from Homegrown brought us in. Just had a delicious breakfast from them. Thanks for letting us get out of the wind here for a little bit, Jalen. It's probably not quite as windy out there. Are you still in Arizona or are you back in KC yet?
I came back to KC just a little early, and then I'm getting ready to go to Texas for those last 2 games.
And then we've got a season that starts in a week basically. So it's all, I cannot believe, as we're sitting here in the middle of March Madness and like ground center, that we're gonna have baseball next. I got a fantasy baseball draft this weekend. Like, it's here. Like, we're here, and the Royals are going to be a big part of it. We've talked to you all spring training long about how they're not getting enough love. Knock on wood here. They survived, right, without any real significant injury, which is where you always start when you have big expectations for a season, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, everyone is healthy. They still have a couple more games to go. I mean, the pieces are kind of falling in place. So now it's just about how do you manage these last 6, 7 games that you might have until it's time to get rolling again.
I would love to get your assessment on the way that you feel like Bobby Witt Jr. has progressed throughout spring training. We've seen, some of those, big time home runs with the exit velocity off the bat through the roof, and traveling 400 plus feet and that sort of thing. We know about his power. We know about how effective he is in that regard. But have you seen him be able to settle in to a point to where, as we've gone through spring training, he's going to be peak Bobby Witt Jr. on opening day?
I think so. Looking earlier in camp, he was getting his timing together. There was concern people had about a couple weeks ago when he's going to hit the first home run. Where's Bobby's power? And now he has 4. So
he's hitting 411 feet dead center on the last one.
Yeah. So I think that he had a scare with the left forearm contusion, getting hit by the pitch, but he was able to bounce back from that. Perks of being a young player, that you can bounce back. If he's 34 or 44, I don't know how quickly he bounces back, but it took him a couple of days and he was back in action. So I think it's pretty clear that Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be ready to go. And I think another key part about helping him being ready to go is having Jonathan India, who has been outstanding this whole spring, hitting in front of him.
He's going to do exactly what they want him to do. I think Jalen Thompson with us, Royals beat reporter for the KC Star, at Jalen with an O, Thompson on X, if you want to follow all his great work. Tell us about India then. So where's he going to play defensively? Is it going to rotate? And then you kind of alluded to it there. They're getting exactly what they wanted out of him offensively thus far, correct?
Yes, exactly. As far as what he's done offensively, it has been what the Royals have wanted, and it's everything that they desired when they acquired him for Brady Singer this offseason. I mean, the man can get on base. He can steal bases. He can, really put pressure on an opposing pitcher because of his ability to just always tab a professional at bat. And I think that's what you want out of that leadoff spot, and that's what Jonathan India provides. As far as defense goes, I think the Royals are still going to be figuring that out going into the regular season. It's some days it could be at third base. Remember, he was drafted as a third baseman coming out of University of Florida. Some days he could play at second. Some days could be in the outfield. I think the key for the Royals is going to be how well are some of their outfielders hitting and playing, because that could determine, well, where does Jonathan India play? If MJ Melendez is hitting well and he's off to a fast start, well, he's going to be in left field. Then where do you put Jonathan India? Is that at third base? Is that at him at second, Massey at DH? It's just so many ways they can go. But for right now, they're really happy with what India provides in the lineup, and he's going to be out there every day. We just don't know where that could be.
Let's talk a little bit about the fifth starter position, Jalen. I know that the rotation is pretty much set for the most part. We talked about the fifth spot in that rotation. Chris Bubic is a guy that has kind of come back in spring training and has pitched decently well during the time in Arizona. I would imagine that it's leaning more towards him to be that fifth guy in the rotation.
Yeah, I think that is what the Royals want to have happen. And I think that's probably what will happen when the final roster decisions come in. If you look very closely, we saw Daniel Lynch come into the game as a reliever a couple of days ago. And I think that was key that he did come in that late inning role because that gives him more opportunities to potentially make this team as a in the bullpen, you know. And the Royals have to make that decision of if Bubich is going to be the fifth starter, what do you do with Daniel Lynch? Has he done enough to be on the team in the bullpen? I think he has. I think what he's done this spring has been really remarkable, knowing that he has worked hard and he's another left-handed option that you can have just in case. But the question is always going to be, you can send Daniel Lynch to AAA and get regular and consistent starts in case of an injury in your starting rotation, or you can have him be in the bullpen as another option to, eat some innings as a left-hander. So they have to decide what they want to do with that. And I think they will in the next couple of days. So that's going to be very interesting to see what they do with Daniel Lynch.
I'll bet you he's in the bullpen. I think they need to protect themselves. And I know him being a starter protects them to some degree, but he has done this long enough where if they need him to be a starter, he could convert. What he can do out of the bullpen for the big league club, because I don't think he would factor into the back end right away, is help the starters not be as pressed to go into deep as games early in the year. So I think he helps them there. I'm most curious, though, Jalen, about the back end of the bullpen. Hunter Harvey's healthy. Is Ursig the closer and Harvey and MacArthur set him up? Do we have any indication? Is there a set way that Q wants us to go? He kind of seems like he likes to have it that way, but Ursig's the Swiss Army knife. So what do you expect to see at the end of games for the Royals out of the gates?
I think it's going to be Carlos Estevez as the guy that's going to be most likely finishing games. And that's not to say that Ursig will not finish games, but he can operate in that fireman role where, how the Astros had Josh Hader and do for so long when he was with them, just come in and get the best hitters wherever they may be late in the game. So that could be in the seventh inning, that could be in the eighth inning.
And they used
when
him
the
that
game's
way
on the
last
line.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you look at how the Royals want to play, they like matchups. So if the best matchup is in that eighth inning, like we saw, like Ursig came in and got some of those outs. Now you don't have to rely on him to get 4, 5, 6 outs. He can just get those 3. You have Estevez to finish the game off. So I think that's kind of how they want to play it. But we'll see how it all comes together because, like you said, you have Hunter Harvey down there, you have John Schreiber down there, you have Sam Long, you have Angel Zerpa. It's
You still have
so many
MacArthur,
ways
don't
you
they?
can go. Yeah, MacArthur, but he's still limited with his injury.
Okay.
So he probably
Okay.
with his elbow surgery, he probably won't be back to start the season on opening day.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I know the Royals, Jalen, have over the last few days trimmed down their big league roster, getting ready for opening day. We know that Jack Caglione, who's had a phenomenal spring training, will start the season in the minors. I'm sure we'll see him at some point with the big league squad. But as we get closer and closer to opening day, are there still some decisions that still need to be made as far as the final roster? And if so, what are we looking at there?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to the guys that are out of options. So we mentioned Daniel Lynch. I think he probably maybe will be in that bullpen. I have him in my current projection in the bullpen.
Yeah.
But Carlos Hernandez is going to be someone that they still might have to consider because he's a flamethrower. He's someone that if he's out of options and if you let him go, then there's a chance that another team might pick him up and then you might lose a flamethrower. I don't know how much the Royals would want that to happen because they developed him, and teams don't like giving away talent that they developed. But that's something I'm looking at. I'm also looking at like the bench spots: Nick Prado versus Nelson Velasquez. Both are out of options. The Royals, they still have to fill their bench, and could they go with one of those guys? I think I put Nick Prado up there because he's another homegrown talent that they drafted in the first round. Maybe they give him one more shot. Or maybe they go with someone that's not even on the roster for that last roster spot. So those are the two values I'm looking for. And I'm also looking at potentially do the Royals go with a utility man? Is it going to be Harold Castro? Is it going to be Kevin Biggio? Is it going to be Nick Lofton? Last year they had Adam Frazier be that left-handed hitting specialist that could play the infield and the outfield. Biggio and Castro can do that. Lofton's right-handed, but he can also do that as well. So those are just things that I'm looking at, and we'll see how they really want to decide those last kind of 3 spots that they have open.
A lot to chew on there. We'll be looking for those final spots. Follow Jalen on it. Before we let you go, Jalen, you're a Georgia guy, right?
Yes, sir.
Well,
pain.
We had that front and center yesterday here in Wichita.
I was so embarrassed.
You should have come down.
I was going to. I said if they beat Gonzaga, I will come when they play Houston because I just. And then but now I'm happy I didn't come because I would have been so mad making that 3-hour drive back.
It was bad.
I mean, Gonzaga shot lights out. They could not miss against Georgia.
Man,
I know.
Jalen, there were a lot of Georgia fans here. I say a lot, but I talked to quite a few, and they were pretty. They were excited to be here and having a great time on the way in the arena.
Not on the way out.
Not so much on the way out.
A lot of them left like midway through the second half. Like they were just like, yeah, we're done.
We talked secondhand, but there were a group of students that had driven here who had to drive back to make a 9 a.m. class. It's like that's the most college thing ever. But
it's
that's too bad.
That's a 16-hour drive. That's a drive.
That's a rough one. I did that in college. We did that all the time. We'd drive down to one college and go party and then drive back as whatever. Young again.
How do you guys feel about the Missouri teams getting knocked out? That's weird too.
Tommy loves it. He's a KU guy.
I'm a KU guy, but I will also say that I had Drake winning anyway. Like they were fantastic.
Drake's really good, and Mizzou has a couple local connections to us here, so it would have been great to see them do well. But Drake's really good. Really good, and we've got 2 great Tech, Drake, and Gonzaga, Houston. There won't be a better combination of games in any region than what we're going to have here on Saturday. So had to mention that. I knew you're a Georgia guy. Apologies, that didn't go well.
Next year, we'll be back next year.
There you go. There's always next year. That's what everybody's saying. That's what all but what is 32 plus another 16. What is that? 48 teams. That's what all the 48 teams are saying right now. Jalen, we appreciate it. Go find Jalen. Find him on X at Jalen Thompson. Glad to have you back here in the Midwest, and can't wait to get this season started and about it each and every week here on Sports Daily.
That's right. Thank you guys so much.
Jalen Thompson. It's a rough day for Georgia. Probably the roughest day.
"66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Is the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood. written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
On a 1-year, 35.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Coming back to you live here from Homegrown in downtown Wichita, right outside Nafsker Park, where we were going to set up before we were blown away here this morning. Appreciate Homegrown for welcoming us in and allowing us to have a booth here for 4 hours.
We promised we would order breakfast.
We did.
So we weren't just taking up a booth.
We did order breakfast.
It was delicious too.
So I'll give you as a tip of the cap and an appreciation of them. I'll give you my homegrown go-to breakfast, and I tell people this all the time. This is not only because they let us in here. It is my favorite breakfast place I've ever been to. Has been since we moved to Wichita. We used to drive all the way out west, half hour, to sit in line for an hour at their original location to have breakfast. Then they opened out east, and we go there, and then they opened this location. We come down here from time to time. Favorite place, love it. Love it. I get the West Coast wake up as a scramble. I put in the green peppers instead of the onions. They have a salsa verde. I get that on the side. I dump it all over it. They got those breakfast potatoes are incredible. Good English muffin with homemade jelly every single time. Every time. That's my go-to here. That's what I just had.
I mean, it looked really good. I'm a sucker for a good biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
And their biscuits and gravy is phenomenal. So that's what I got today. Douse it in some Cholula.
It's
Call it
good.
good.
I
A little
love
couple
Cholula.
over easy eggs, some of the breakfast potatoes, a little bit of gravy mixed in there.
Yeah.
It's great. It's sitting like a lump in my stomach right now. But that's a great feeling to have.
I tell people when I eat breakfast here, I don't eat lunch typically. Tony, our third man on the scene, had it his first time. He was like, "Man, I'm full." I'm like, "Yeah, you will be." We love it. We appreciate them very, very much. Biscuits and gravy are interesting. I never get them at a restaurant because I'm always afraid they'll not be as good as my mom's growing up. And so it never registers as a menu item for me. I'm never like, oh, you know what? I'll have biscuits and gravy. But then when I'm home and I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
So
I love them.
need
I
to
mean,
try it.
there's nothing that I love more than a good restaurant biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like, you'll do. I like.
No,
just
it's like sausage gravy, right? There's meat.
Totally.
In the gravy.
Yeah. I like just a standard breakfast. Like, give me the eggs, give me
yeah.
the bacon, give me the hash browns. Piece of toast, call it good.
Yep.
But man, like biscuits and gravy, I'll pick that over basically any other breakfast menu item.
That's interesting. I'm not a sweet breakfast item person either.
I love pancakes.
I like a bite of a pancake
Yeah.
usually, but not like I would be disappointed in myself if I had breakfast and pancakes were the only thing that I had.
Yeah.
Like I need the meat.
And I know it goes counter to everything about me that my favorite breakfast item is a dish where you pour gravy over the top of a bunch of other things. Like you would think I'd want my biscuits on one side of the plate and the gravy on the other, but those two things go hand in hand. It's my favorite breakfast item.
Yeah, I don't understand. There's nothing better than mixing all the breakfast items together. Let the eggs run all over everything else. Dip the bacon in the egg yolk.
I'm fine with that as long as it's not like getting into my syrup for my pancakes. Like you can't mix the savory and sweet. That's
just swirl it up.
I'm not a fan of that.
Just swirl it up in there. I just said something that I need to ask you about.
Yeah.
So I catch grief a lot from my wife for the way that I say the yellow part of an egg.
Yolk.
How do you say it?
Yolk.
That's what I say.
How is it supposed to be pronounced?
Yolk is what she says.
What's the difference between the way you just said it?
Yolk and yolk. The L.
Oh, with the L.
The L.
Yolk.
The L is a part of the word.
An egg yolk. Egg yolk. I don't think I have a hard and fast rule. I think it just kind of depends upon how it comes out.
I don't know that there is a word I catch more heat for.
Really?
Than that word when I say it.
Oh.
I mean, she acts like I'm the biggest idiot walking the face of the planet when I use the L in that word. And my go-to is always this. What was the name of our president that rhymes with
Polk?
Exactly.
Polk with an L.
Yes.
Are you sure that's the reason she thinks you're an idiot?
One of
probably
the reasons.
multiple reasons.
There are, but I'm telling you, that's a big one.
Okay.
And it has to be said every time I say the word. Okay. Like you've already tried to make this point. Like it's the way that I say the word. You're just going to have to live with it.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
You've been married for how many years? 10, 12 years, whatever.
10
like
years.
at this point, you're 10 years in. You're not changing that.
I am not changing that word. Now I overemphasize it, of course. Now it's like
yolk.
Yolk. Did I get a yolk with that? Yeah. That's.
How do you say? Do you say syrup or syrup?
Both, I think.
Okay.
I think I would say both.
It's always been syrup for me.
I think I say syrup more often, but I think I've said syrup. or syrup. Like
Syrup?
Yeah, probably. I probably don't say that.
I don't say syrup.
But like caramel. She's like caramel or caramel. I say both.
I think it's it's caramel.
I do say both.
Yeah.
I don't know which one. It's kind of like coyote and coyote. I say both. I don't know which one I say more often.
I mean, you're from the Panhandle, so it's probably coyote.
Yes,
I think
that's where it comes in. But then Wile E. Coyote.
True. You're also from the Panhandle, so I wouldn't be surprised if you pronounce it Warsh instead of Wash.
I don't. My dad
go
does.
Warsh?
My dad does. I do not. My dad also says guitar instead of guitar, which I think is the greatest of the words.
That's great. Is it crayon or crown?
Oh, do not get me started on this one. So, it's crayon.
It's crayon.
My wife would say crayon. Now,
she's giving you a hard time about yolk.
Here's what I'll say about crayon, because I've given people crayon is very much a West Coast thing,
right?
And crayon is at least an acceptable abbreviation because you're just removing some letters, and you could still get to crayon. There is no way to get to crown.
Crown.
That's the one that bothers me. No offense, because I know there are a lot of people that might say it. I'm just telling you, when I hear crown, I'm like,
I mean, it's absolutely crayon.
I agree.
It's 100% crayon.
It's crayon. Crayon is the correct answer. 100%. I do know now, though, that crayon is regional, and I do at least you can just remove some middle letters, shrink it down, and it's almost like an abbreviation.
I don't buy it. She can't call it crayon and get mad at you for pronouncing it yolk.
No,
like that's a double standard. She can't have it both ways.
I'll fight more battles about the long or the short A in Nevada and pajama and because it's Nevada. It's Nevada. And I'm like, no, it's Nevada. It's Nevada. No, not around here. It's not. That might fly out in San Diego where you're from.
Absolutely Nevada.
Saying it the right way.
Nevada.
But around here, we don't say
But
Nevada.
it's funny because I say Nevada, but then I also say pajama. So I'm not consistent in either one of them. When you're from Kansas, you get just it all from every direction because we're right smack dab in the middle.
Are you soda, pop, or Coke?
The older I've gotten, I've actually gotten more soda, but I grew up pop.
Everything's a Coke.
Yeah, see, nothing's a Coke.
I will probably say soda more often now,
I
but
say
growing
soda
up,
now
everything's a Coke. Can I get a Coke? What kind?
Yeah,
I
grew up, it was always, can I get a pop? And now I kind of feel like the older I get, the more mature I am, and the more
Yeah, I don't.
I feel like I have to say I would like a soda, please.
No, I don't feel that way at all. But I do say soda more. But it's Coke. What kind? And the reason is because you ask for a Coke, you get a Coke. So now you've like learned like nope.
Because they're not going to qualify it by saying what kind. They're
Back home, you say, "Can I get a Coke?" They'll say, "What kind of Coke do you want?"
Yeah,
and you'll say a Sprite.
Right. that's not the way it works here.
Yeah, it's not. So you better say it right there.
So for all the folks coming up from Houston and Lubbock this weekend, if you don't want a Coke,
say soda.
Order a soda.
That's right. And I don't know if it stretches Lubbock for sure. It would be that way. I don't know about Houston. That's a different planet down there.
True.
But in Lubbock would be more of my neck of the woods. We're just 90 minutes from Lubbock up the road in Amarillo. All right. We've got Matt Hamilton coming in. He's going to talk a little Wind Surge baseball. That's later this hour. I need some help with bets. So here's what I want everybody to do. Look at your first window of games and tell me who you like. Because I like to break it up into sessions so that I can win some money in the first session and then carry it over to the second. I need a hit.
How'd you do yesterday? Did you win anything yesterday?
No, not good. Nothing hit. I need a 3-team parlay out of the first window. We're going to walk through that and look at some betting here on the games today. Don't go away. Sports Daily coming right back.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back in, everybody. Sports Daily here. Coming to you a couple more hours live as we are not braving the wind and the weather any longer. It was really cold yesterday and then really sunny. I have a nice sunburn. That's where I'm wearing a hat today. And then now it's really windy. Apologies for my voice. The allergies and all of the hits yesterday have taken their toll. So I think it.
I think you sound fine.
Yeah.
I think you're okay.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Yeah.
We'll be all right. We're having fun. Matt Hamilton will come in, talk a little wind surge. Let's talk bets. How's your bracket, Tommy?
Bracket's really good.
Yeah?
It's really good. In fact, in our KFH Sports Daily Bracket Challenge, I'm in first place.
Oh, good for you.
I got 14 out of 16 right. I missed the Clemson game yesterday.
That's cute.
And I missed the KU game yesterday. That's it.
Anybody, you had KU to the Sweet 16.
I did.
Did you have Clemson to the
I
Sweet
did
16?
not. No, I had Clemson losing in the second round.
So I'm down 3 Sweet 16 teams. I had KU, Clemson, and then I had San Diego or UC San Diego, who, despite a really bad start, almost got it done last night. So I'm down, but nobody in the Elite Eight, so it's fine.
And I'm not going to talk any trash or anything. I mean, you know my reputation as like jinxing things.
Trying to coax you into it.
So I'm not gonna jinx anything at all. I mean, I'm hopeful it's going to be a good day, but I'm not banking on anything.
So I need help with bets here. I got to get a first window bet in. I like to do them in by like broadcast windows, so it's like the day's split in half. This one's tough when I'm looking at them. I think as I look at the games, there are a few that are really tight lines that I just sort of have a winner in. And so I think my options here would be New Mexico as an underdog, who I have winning a game. North Carolina as a 1.5 point favorite that I had winning that game. St. Mary's as a 4.5 point favorite that I had winning that game. Memphis as a 1.5 point dog who I have winning that game, or Mississippi State who I have winning minus 1.5. I think those are my best options because I have those teams winning. Man, I don't know though. I don't know. Like North Carolina feels like the right bet, I think, based on the way they played and everything going into it. I know it's against Chris Beard. I know we're not going to agree on Colorado State and Memphis because you like Colorado State in the game.
Yeah. I like Mississippi State laying the 1.5 against Baylor. I mean, really outside of VJ Edgecombe, that's about the only threat that Baylor has right now.
Yeah, it's a Jans bet.
And I mean, Chris Jans is phenomenal, and Mississippi State's been really good this year. So I'm going to lay the 1.5 with Mississippi State. I'm going to lay the 1.5 with Colorado State. I like Nico Medved. I like Nick Collins. I think that they're going to move on.
I'm going to stay away from that game because I think I originally wrote Colorado State, then scratched out and wrote Memphis. So I'm gonna stay clear of that. So I'm gonna go Mississippi State. I'm gonna go North Carolina, and I'm gonna go New Mexico.
Are you laying any of the big points, like with the one seeds, like the Duke? I mean, it sounds. John Shire said this morning that Cooper Flag will have no restrictions, and he's a full go to.
No chance. I'd be more likely to take the point. No way.
Houston. I mean,
I know
we were concerned about that. We took the. At least I.
Did they cover? Points. Did they end up covering?
They did by a large margin yesterday against SIUE.
But did they cover? It was 28.5.
Yeah, they won by 35 or something like that. Yeah.
No, I will not be taking those. That was I just put it in. Okay. That's what I'm going with in the first window. Now I need to win that because I think that was the rest of my money in my little account here. North Carolina minus 1.5, New Mexico plus 3.5. Mississippi State minus 1.5. That is my early session play for the day.
If you want to talk about a couple underdog covers that might play out today, that might cash, I'm looking at potentially Robert Morris in the Alabama game. It's plus 21.5 on DraftKings.
Alabama can score like
Alabama
crazy.
Can score, but I'm not sure that they'll be able to do that, to win by 21.5 against a Robert Morris team. I think that Robert Morris can keep it in the teens at least. So I like that. And then the other one, I actually like this one better, is Grand Canyon in Maryland. Grand Canyon's the 13, and it's 10.5. I think like Grand Canyon.
Maryland.
I like Maryland too, but I think Grand Canyon can keep it in single digits.
So I haven't looked at the evening window yet, and that's where that game comes from.
Well,
that is the last game. Yeah. I missed that one. I might have should have taken that one. All right. So then we go to the second session of games. I took New Mexico.
Yeah, New Mexico's in the second session.
Well, there goes that. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll be waited on. I'll be anxiously awaiting that.
But I don't disagree with you on New Mexico. In fact, I like them on the money line. I've got them beating Marquette.
I went ahead and took it, but I have them winning in the tournament. All right. Arizona minus 14.5. I don't hate that. That's not bad.
I'm okay with that.
That's not bad. Even though Akron was catching some love in the selection show.
It'll have to be a Caleb Love game.
I like Illinois minus 3.5. I think Illinois is getting a little underrated here. Oregon -6.5. I know people like Liberty. That's the late game tonight. I'd probably go to the Oregon side of that. So, I don't love the bets today. I didn't love the bets yesterday either. There are a lot of tournament years where I feel really good about first round games. Not this year.
Let me give you one that you didn't mention in the second window tonight that I think could cash. UConn laying 5.5 against Oklahoma. It's a 8-9 matchup, but I think that there's a pretty good disparity between UConn and Oklahoma, even though they're only 1 seed apart.
I agree. Sort of like Georgia Gonzaga. I'm not sure that I think UConn's as good as Gonzaga. Now, you know what you made me wonder how the SEC did yesterday. Let's look.
I don't think they did well. I mean, I know Tennessee won, A&M won.
Auburn won.
Yep.
Georgia, so they lost Georgia yesterday. I mean, Arkansas obviously did well. They lost Mizzou yesterday. And that's it. So they lost 2 yesterday.
They lost Texas in the first 4. So they're
That's
4
true. So
they're 4 and 3.
Good call.
They're 4 and 3 in the
So 4 and 3, that's not amazing. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing. And then today they're going to have their other 7 teams go. And we don't like Oklahoma.
Yep.
So there's potentially one.
I do like Mississippi State.
I do too.
I like them.
But it's a coin flip. It's a coin flip. Vanderbilt, I like St. Mary's. In fact, that should have been my other early window bet. -4.5 St. Mary's is slightly favored. I think Ole Miss is going to go down today. I don't think Kentucky's losing to Troy, even though some people like Troy. Florida's not losing. And there's one more.
Mentioned OU.
Oh, and then Oklahoma. Yeah. And then Oklahoma's. I think Oklahoma's going to lose.
Yeah.
So we could
What's
get
a good showing for the SEC? I mean, what do you feel like after going
above
4 and 3?
500?
I mean,
above 500.
It's got to be better than that, right? Like, this is the best conference in America. This is always, by the way, the narrative about the Big 12. The Big 12 usually gets a lot of teams in. They did this year. But it's always like the Big 12's amazing, and then like they don't do well in the tournament.
It's not like truly representative either, by the way, because you might have a great Big 12 team against just a good or average SEC team that made it in. Well, that's not a fair way to look at it. Like, if you really want to get a strength of a conference to me, like, you have all the top teams play and you just kind of go down the list, right? You have the 2 best teams in the league play, and then you have the next 2 best teams in the league play, and then you go all the way down, and Oklahoma State plays, I don't know, who's the worst team in the SEC? It's South Carolina.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, wasn't Jay Billis. Maybe it was Jay Billis. No, it was somebody else. It was on Eisen after us 2 days ago. Said they thought South Carolina was the best last place team in a league they have ever seen. And that was what they used to talk about the strength of the SEC, is that they thought South Carolina was the best, worst team in a conference. So, like any conference ever in the history of anything, he thought South Carolina was the best last place team he'd ever seen. And it's not because he thought South Carolina underperformed or better than the other teams. You're just saying, like, even that far down, that was still a good team. And I'll buy that. I mean, will buy that.
Who were the SEC teams that didn't make the tournament? I mean, I know South Carolina.
There were only 2.
Right.
South Carolina.
Who was the other one?
It's going to take me a minute to find that. There's the Big 12. How do I switch leagues? Oh, right here. Okay. So the 2 teams that did not make it were South Carolina and LSU.
LSU, okay.
And we saw LSU play Kansas State. They were not bad.
Yeah.
They were not bad. So I'll buy it. I'll buy that the SEC was that good. I think that they earned it, and I'll buy it because while I think we get this thing that complicates things and hurts us in football, I don't think we get it in basketball. And in the Big 12, we have seen it. And there have been years where the Big 12 was very clearly the best league in the country, and they didn't find a ton of tournament success. And I don't think that's the barometer that we should use. I think it's fun to look at it. I think it'll be fascinating if the SEC goes sub 500 in the first round. That might not be good for them, but I don't think it means they weren't the best team in the best league in the country. I think they were the best league in the country.
Right. At bare minimum, they need a duplication of yesterday. They need to go at minimum 4 and 3 today.
Yeah. And they could, and then they'd be 8 and 6.
They'd be 8 and 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
they got 8 out of 32. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Look, the other part of it too is, I think when you get like to the Elite Eight, for instance, I do think you can look then and say who has the most Elite Eight teams in. I think that could change it. Like, let's say there's a world where Iowa State, Tech, Houston, BYU, let's say they've got 4 out of 8 teams in the Elite Eight. I think then you can say, all right, hold your horses, SEC. The Big 12 is just as good.
My bracket, I've got 3 Big 12 teams in the Final Four.
Right, that's
probably overly
it's probably
aggressive,
overly aggressive. But if that happened, I think then we can have a conversation of, well, maybe the Big 12 was right there with the SEC this year. The SEC was the deepest league. I don't think there's any question about that.
I mean, I think that clearly the Big 12 this season has been more top heavy than the SEC, where you've had more distribution of the talent and the more skill with all the teams from top to bottom in the conference. Like the teams that are at the bottom, or that were at the bottom of the Big 12, not great, right? Like Colorado, not great,
right?
Oklahoma State, not great.
Yep. Kansas State flashed at least for a portion of the season.
And Colorado had a small little stretch where they were challenging, but like overall, not great.
Yeah, Utah, not great. Yeah. Kansas is what let the league down this year, because if Kansas is where we thought Kansas was going to be, now you're boasting a top 5 of Kansas, Houston, Arizona, Texas Tech, and Iowa State. I'll put that top 5 up with anybody.
Well, Kansas State let down too, because I think that the expectation was that they were a tournament team as well, easily, and then they underperformed also. I mean, so like there are a handful of disappointments in the league where the SEC doesn't really have any, right? Like, yeah, South Carolina and LSU didn't make the tournament, but
they had good years.
They had good years.
Yeah, they didn't have good league years. They had good years, and that's so. End of the day, no matter what happens, you're not going to convince me that wasn't the league's top team this year.
Yeah,
it was. Was it head and shoulders? Was it the best ever? Let's see how the tournament plays out. Michigan survived their landmine; they could make it through. Wisconsin can definitely make it through.
Yep. Speaking of conferences. Did you run into Brett Yormark yesterday inside the arena? He was there.
You told me you had a story on him, and
I saw him in the tunnel for a while, and he was, the one thing you like about Brett Yormark, whenever you see him, he's dressed to the nines.
Oh yeah,
like it's always immaculate, impeccable.
New York City,
totally. I mean, totally.
Yeah,
and he's shorter than I thought he was going to be.
I knew he was short.
He's a small guy. Kind of reminds me. I think that there's a doppelganger with our very own Tony Dusing and Brett Yormark a little bit.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
So I did see him, and he was down there for sure. That was cool. Can I tell you, by the way, the best thing that I saw?
Houston and Tech. I'm surprised this was his spot. Maybe not.
The best thing that I saw in round 1 yesterday inside the arena was there was a brief, well, I don't really know how brief, there was a decent internet outage in the building, which was unfortunate. And I was on press row, second row, and the Westwood One radio guys, national broadcasters right in front of me, they were scrambling. They were panicking because it was Gonzaga, Georgia, and it was about to tip off, and they had no internet. And their play-by-play guy by the name of Ted Emmerich. I looked it up because I was curious.
Not Doc Emmerich.
Nope. Ted Emmerich.
Okay.
Did the first at least 5 minutes of the Georgia Gonzaga game on his phone.
We've been there.
Just talking on his phone as the engineers are scrambling and they're trying to figure out how to get the internet back connected inside. And this dude's literally holding up his cell phone and he's a pro, a consummate pro. Best thing I saw yesterday inside that building.
Yeah, if you want a little insight to just you've got that. It was so cold yesterday for us, but today we're in here because of the wind. Watching us this morning would have been comical. We were on the air yesterday, and while we're on the air, I don't know if anybody could hear any of this. You've got the mayor doing a mayor's briefing, getting grilled about things that happened the day before that have nothing to do with the tournament. And in between that, you've got a situation, I think it was the Starkey crew, somebody was giving them a hard time, one of their members, and so they're trying to help him out.
Yeah.
And that's all literally 10 feet from us.
As we're trying to do a show, live on the air.
Yeah, oh, hey, and what do you think about Kansas's chances?
I don't know about you. We didn't talk about it after the fact. I was ready for that segment to be done.
Segment
I'm counting down the seconds hey, can we please go to break? Because we got to wrap this up.
We got a couple of things happening here around.
It's a little calmer inside Homegrown, a little bit more relaxed this morning.
It is.
Than what we had yesterday.
And we appreciate them for having us in and letting us do that. And the tournament was great yesterday. And we're going to talk about the games that played out here in our final hour as we make our way through. Matt Hamilton, Wichita Wind Surge, will join us in the next segment about 5 minutes from now. Let's go back to Kansas for people that might just be jumping in, Tommy. Just an unbelievably expected, I guess. It should have been anyway, because it was literally what happened in every big moment of this season. Kansas got to the end of a game with a chance to win. And not only did they not finish it, it was a comedy of errors to lose it. Like, as bad as you can imagine. 6 turnovers in 3.5 minutes. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. But we have this year from Kansas.
As a Kansas fan, I'm actually less angry this morning than I was a few weeks ago when we were talking about, can they even win an NCAA tournament game? Because it was expected. I'm like, you know what? Even though I kind of liked their draw, at the end of the day, the team didn't fit. They didn't work well together.
Well,
and you kind of just throw your hands up in the air and you're like, this is what they are.
Both things can be true.
They are who we thought they were.
We were right about the draw. It was a good draw.
It
was a good draw. They should have beat Arkansas last night. Arkansas had a great game plan and had them on the ropes, and then Kansas got it together and had a chance to win. And then, like we said, ensued. And
I'm going to tell you my favorite analogy. You know, in the movie Old Yeller, when Old Yeller gets rabies and the kid takes him back behind the barn and just, mercifully puts him down.
That's the only thing about Old Yeller anybody ever
the kid in this story was Arkansas, and Kansas was Old Yeller. Like, they put Kansas out of their misery. So I'm not even like angry today. I'm just like, thank God that's over.
Yeah, I don't think I'm angry about it either. It makes me less angry to see the incredible performance of this community here, because that was the only thing that was actually like angering me. I actually, at the end of that game, had a ton of sympathy. I had a ton of sympathy for Bill Self, because I know how much he loves those guys, and I know how hard this season has been to watch those guys struggle that way, really for the last 2 years. I have so much sympathy for KJ Adams, whose story is incredible, who has dealt with a ton of crap that is very hard to deal with and now has to deal with that kind of injury. I felt bad for really good players who just never fit together. I just had a lot of sympathy for it, but I'm with you. I'm glad it will be time for them to reset things, because I want to know in the modern era truly how Kansas survives. It's not a question of whether they can get portal players. They always have gotten the best ones. Remy Martin was the top guy. Hunter Dickinson was the top guy. Rylan Griffin and A.J. Storr, for what Kansas was trying to accomplish, were the top guys. They'll get the top guys. I'm not worried about that. Now I got to see, because what we haven't seen is not DeJuan Harris, not like we haven't had iteration. So talk a little wind surge. Don't go away. More Sports Daily right after this.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
Don't get much more insider than the general manager of the Wichita Wind Surge. Is the Surge getting ready to start the season? One of the busiest people in Wichita right now. Matt Hamilton joining us. First full go Matt Hamilton show all the way on the docket. I know it's been busy. You guys ready? You guys ready? We're getting close.
Yeah, at this point, if we weren't ready, it would be pretty alarming. No, we've got everything pretty well squared away. Now it's just buttoning up loose ends to make sure that when April 8th rolls around, everybody has their checklist of things in front of them, and we know what we need to do to put on a good show when we open up the gates. So no, April 8th is going to be a phenomenal night. when we open up against the Midland Rockhounds, affiliate for the Oakland Athletics, or not Oakland anymore. Whoa, just the Athletics. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah. Whoa, MLB.
That used to be Oakland, maybe soon to be Vegas, playing in Sacramento. Nothing Athletics.
Yes, exactly that. So no, opening night will be phenomenal. Of course, we'll shoot fireworks on opening night, and then we'll roll into the rest of the series that week. But yeah, no, the biggest goal for us this offseason was to just jam pack our promo schedule and try to give fans every which reason they can think of to come out to the ballpark. Whether you are or are not a baseball fan, there should be something for everybody.
The biggest story from the offseason, I would say, would definitely be the new partnership with Equity Bank Park. And Riverfront Stadium is no more. Equity Bank Park. I know that's something you've been working on for a long time and finally coming to fruition.
Yeah, it's exciting. Anytime you can get a partner who's willing to walk alongside you for a decade and a half is pretty important, and it only opens up the opportunities that we have as an organization to fireworks shows cost money, giveaways cost money, those types of things cost money, and so to have a partner who can support us the way that Equity Bank does and will do for the next 15 years will allow us to do bigger and better fireworks shows, to do cooler and nicer giveaways. That anytime you have a partner who can give you 15 years of security, it allows you to do so much more. That only helps enhance the fan experience while achieving the ultimate goal, which is keeping costs down. And so anytime that we have the financial freedom to do those types of things, it only enhances fan experience, and that's what we're primarily focused on all day, every day. And so partnerships like this are just immensely important to everything that we do. So it's very exciting. We're so thrilled to be working with Equity Bank. They've been super easy, considering we got this deal finally secured at the very tail end of January to try to get this thing activated. And they've been very patient with us, which is nice too. So no, it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you drive by the ballpark right now,
putting signage up as we speak.
As we speak, Bank Park is on the scoreboard right now. And then Equity with the logo will go up later today once the wind kind of tallies down a little bit. But if you drive past one of our maple gates, Equity Bank Park is already up and you can see it in full display.
And that's free money for the city too, for all the people keeping score, which is always good. You mentioned boosting, promotions and activities up while keeping costs down. I think that's two things that have definitely gotten better for this organization over the last two seasons. And I think that, the plan and the vision, at least from what I can tell for you, is for that to just, continues to go in the right direction for those two lanes. Cost down, fun up, right?
Yeah, and that's the only way that minor league baseball is successful in a market, is we have to remain affordable for every single level of income, and we're even more hypersensitive to it, especially over, if you take a look at the financial landscape of the United States for the last couple of years, and we never know. It's going to be volatile year in and year out. It doesn't matter who's in office. And so what we have to do on our side is whatever we can do to, if we're able to save a little bit on the different type of vessel that we're serving nachos on, that helps us keep nacho costs down. So it's amazing the little things that we do and will do to make sure that, whenever fans come out to the game, they don't feel like they can't afford it, because affordable family fun's the only way that we stay viable. It's the only way that we stay relevant. And it's the one thing that I'll continue to harp on my entire career.
Jacob mentioned this at the very top. It's the Matt Hamilton show.
Yeah.
President Jay Miller retired over during the offseason. And I know you partnered with him in a lot of different areas. It was your first year with the organization. He's a guy that came back to Wichita when he didn't have to.
Sure.
And he did. And obviously will be missed. But what were some of the things that, you took away from working with him last season and then being able to make it your own?
Sure. Well, anytime you work with one individual who's done something for 40 plus years, there's certainly things that you can take away. But, one thing I will always say is that I'm super thankful for all the folks that I've worked with throughout the course of my career. If you look at the way the Amarillo Sod Poodles operate, there's probably going to be some similarities in the way that we do things here. If you look at the way the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders operate, there's some similarities of things that we do here, and so on and so forth with the Wind Surge. And so, no, Jay obviously came back and did a phenomenal job of standing the organization back up in a positive light. And so now going forward, we're in a good place to roll off of that and continue to push the envelope with some of the things that we're doing this year as far from a marketing and advertising standpoint, promotion standpoint. And if you've ever been to a minor league stadium and you've had the opportunity to meet just random celebrities, that's experiences that we're going to deliver this year. We have a couple of nights where we're going to bring out some characters, or I should say actors and actresses from TV shows and movies to enhance experience and provide fans an opportunity to meet somebody in another world they never probably would have had the opportunity to meet. We're going to continue to do. We're bringing in a guy named Josh David, who's a country artist, Canadian guy who's trying to get his foot in the door in the American scene, and he's going to come do a concourse concert after a game out in the Pump House area. And so we're going to continue those little things, but the one thing that we wanted to establish realistically was just consistency from a fan expectation standpoint on what they can come to expect when they come to the ballpark. On Friday nights, we know there's fireworks. On Saturdays, what was the expectation? It was sometimes there's a giveaway, sometimes there's a theme, things like that. So every single Saturday, we'll have a giveaway for the first 2,000 fans who come through our gates. And anytime you come to the ballpark on a Saturday, that should be the expectation to drive the desire to get there. We brought bobbleheads back. I don't know if y'all seen the posts about our bobbleheads this year. And so we really wanted to bring quality back to the experience that fans should not only come to expect this year, but years going forward as well.
Matt and I have known each other for a long time. Matt Hamilton, general manager of the Wichita Wind Surge. One thing that I've followed that you've done in your other stops that has been lacking at now Equity Bank Park are the non-baseball events that take advantage of a great facility. A part of the sell to this community with a downtown ballpark was all the other stuff that's not baseball. I know you've been working hard on some of those things, and I think Wichitans or the surrounding area can expect some opportunities to go down there and have fun outside of baseball soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't name the artists yet. There's some parameters around the contracts that we have, but we do have 2 concerts booked in the month of August. And so we're looking forward to being able to communicate who those artists are here soon once we can put tickets on sale. I can give you the dates at the very least right now, Saturday, August 16th, and then Friday, August 22nd. So back-to-back weekends of music down at the ballpark will be a fun time to still activate the ballpark in a way that, we sort of cracked the bottle on last year with Logan Mize in October. We're looking, and, we've got a big announcement coming the week after opening week of a community partnership and an event that'll come in August that we're really excited for. So August is going to be jam-packed. We're working on some potential stuff for July. We've already got stuff kind of scheduled in October that we're excited to continue to hopefully dot some I's and cross some T's on so we can make those announcements. And then, one thing, and then we're working on some stuff potentially around the holiday season to try and keep fans entertained and activated down at Equity Bank Park. I mean, that's you nailed it. That's one of the things that we have to do as an organization, not just because it's good stewardship for the community, but because we need to provide entertainment and provide opportunities for fans who maybe would never have come to our ballpark for any other reason than that to get them through the gates. Because I'm a firm believer that one time is all it takes for somebody to come to Equity Bank Park. That's all it takes is one time, and we have an opportunity to bring them back for something else. And so if we can get them there, then we know that we can keep them.
Let's talk a little bit before we let you go about the product on the field. Ramon Barraga got promoted to the Major League squad, so he's no longer the manager for the Wind Surge, so a new coaching staff there for your team. And then, of course, the Twins are, I think, by all accounts, the favorites to win the AL Central this year. So talking about, potentially pretty solid baseball this year.
Yeah, and actually I just got back from spring training this last weekend down in Fort Myers and got the chance to see Ramon and give him about the biggest hug I possibly could. One of my favorite people in the game. So excited for him. But I also had a chance to meet our new manager, Brian Dinkelman, in person. And I don't think you're going to see any fall off in the type of baseball you're going to see. It's almost like Ramon and Brian are the same individual, just in 2 different bodies. And so they think a lot alike. They communicate the same. Should be a lot of fun. He was 2023 minor league baseball manager of the year whenever Cedar Rapids won the championship. And a lot of those guys are now on this team. And so it should be a lot of fun. But obviously everybody's talking about Walker Jenkins, who's the number 3 overall baseball prospect in all of baseball. Him while down there. And the kid is a titan. Like, he's got a 19-year-old's face, but he's built like, a 25-year-old middle linebacker. I mean, he is enormous. But that's not the only guy to be excited about. There's a guy named, a couple prospects that are coming up from Ciara. We'll return a couple of guys. We should see the likes of Ben Ross and Tanner Schobel. And,
Has Jenkins' path been determined yet?
No, I mean, he was here at the end of last year. So for the last homestand. So the speculation is that he'll get here. Well, he's still, kind of up in the air, but we should have final roster here coming soon.
Quick,
yeah. But we were pretty well given some inside info that it looks like he should land here.
That would be good.
The only thing I could see that would determine that if, heaven forbid, knock on wood, anything were to happen with health. But, we, of course, we're ribbing about Kalen Culpepper, the Kansas State shortstop, who was the Twins' first-round pick last year, and we hope to see him this year at some point or another. So, on the field, it should be a lot of the guys that were here last year, but what folks need to understand is that the jump from high A to double A is difficult. And we had a very young team last year, but a young team that won a championship at the high A level and certainly has the ability to win at the double A level. And we'll get a lot of those guys back. And so it should be a lot of fun baseball on the field.
And if he can, be held down, Jack Caglione could make an opportunity. He not scheduled to come to Wichita until late for Royals fans, but we'll see. There's a chance.
Small chance.
Unless he just continues to tear the cover off of baseball, in which he'll probably be in Kansas City. But maybe not. We'll see. All right, Matt, opening week is April 8th. So you guys will have a couple of games, and then here the fun begins April 8th. What is on tap for the opening week, and are there still tickets for people to get?
Yeah, of course. The beautiful thing is that, our stadium is so big, and so there's usually a lot of opportunities for fans to still get tickets. Opening night will be fireworks, April 8th. We're going to have a magnet scheduled that first night, and then we'll have our first Wet Nose Wednesday, which is our new branded Wednesday nights where you can bring her to the ballpark on
every Wednesday this year.
Every Wednesday, every evening Wednesdays. Of course, the Wednesday day games are education days, so we probably don't want 10,000 kids and 10,000 dogs running around, but we're gonna keep it on the evening. So 7 Wet Nose Wednesday dates this year. Of course, Thirsty Thursday returns in full force, and then Friday night fireworks again on the 11th. On the 12th, we're gonna do a mittens giveaway sponsored by Sonic for those random cold snaps that we get in April here in Wichita, which I'm knocking on wood for those who can see me to hope that we don't have one and those mittens are just making people's hands sweat. And then Sunday's our family fun day. And of course you can come out and play catch on the field pregame, run the bases after the game for all the kids 12 and under. And that'll be kind of the first push that we have as we get ready for what will be an incredible summer.
Can't wait for it. It's almost baseball season. We're very, very close. Matt Hamilton, Wichita Windsor's general manager. It's going to be a fun year. We can't wait to see it. We'll be right back with more Sports Daily.
97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita, KNSS HD2 Clearwater, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Ready to shoot your shot? Log into BetMGM and make your picks in our March Matchups $250K Pick'em for your chance to win a share of bonus bets. It's free to play and easy to get started. Just log into your BetMGM account and predict what will happen at different points throughout the college basketball tournament. You'll earn points with every correct answer, which gives you a shot to win a share of bonus bets. That's right. Just pick what will happen throughout March Matchups, and if you make enough correct picks, you'll win a share of the $250K in bonus bets. You think you know college basketball? Log into BetMGM and make your picks to win a share of $250,000 in bonus bets. It's free to play. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age and older. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Today, expect mostly sunny skies with a high
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back, everybody. One more hour live from Homegrown, which is, I'm pretty sure, the hoppinest place down here right now, as everybody's sort of waiting out the wind. I've seen a few opposing fan bases. I say opposing, a few fan bases from other teams, from other areas out here on the shirts of those. I hope everybody's getting a good taste of what I would contend is our best breakfast spot. We appreciate them for letting us come in here and do this, as we were not going to make it. We would have not made it, Tom. I don't know what we would have done. We were overly optimistic that we'd be able to be out there in that wind today. It was cold yesterday, but we can deal with that. That wind, no chance.
Yeah, it was very breezy. It, still is.
Yeah, this isn't breezy. This is windy.
Yeah, I think that obviously, as we talked about before, I think it's going to die down here.
It's supposed to die down at 12 o'clock.
Which is perfect because we'll have first-round games on the big screen out here at NASCAR Park. FanFest will continue, so don't let it deter you. Come on out, bring the family, play hooky again for a second day in a row, even though there aren't games going on at Intrust today. All of the games at the other regional sites will be on the big screen out here at NASCAR Park, free to the public. A big thanks to City of Wichita Parks and Rec for putting all of this together. Food trucks and booze trucks and games for the kids to play. And if you haven't been down to NASCAR Park before, one of the things that I love is that it's this green space of just the turf that's out.
Yeah.
And so, it doesn't get wet and muddy and like all of that. So if you got kids, you can bring them out. I know it's spring break, let them run around, let them play all the games, and it's not going to cost you anything to come out and do that.
Yep. I mean, the food and drinks aren't free. I was in NASCAR just kind of doing live news hits yesterday, talking to people, doing everything, but I'm looking around. I mean, it's a $6 beer. Right.
Yeah.
It's a not expensive. There's nothing about this that isn't very doable, and you don't have to pay for the activities. Is the reality? Our buddy Zeb is over. I believe he's going to run a full DJ set again today. We know he will tomorrow.
It looks like he's getting set up now.
I know the 12 News crew's over there. So there's Pop Shot, mini golf, and then there's some cornhole getting set up. I counted 6 food trucks, I believe there were in here yesterday.
Did you try anything from any of the food trucks?
No, I didn't have time. Yesterday was weird. Yesterday was a little strange for me. So we got done, went in, kind of got settled into the media room, got all my, trying to shed layers from the morning. And then I went to the south side of the arena to a buddy's sort of like his work put on a party, how there's the business parties and stuff. So stopped in there for a minute, and then we walked the south part and then what would be the west part. Another buddy has brick and mortar over there, so we popped by, checked that out. Their setup is incredible, by the way, incredible over there. That's all very well professionally done. Was hopping, right? I sampled. There's little sample cups. The Boulevard Beer had a couple of their samples. They had a couple of good little tasters. You can't party hard when you're working yesterday, but I was like, oh yeah, I can try it. It was good. So that sample tent was set up over there. That was good. And then when lunch was done, we I swung back through NASCAR, got caught up with my TV crew, and then our job yesterday was to just sort of describe the flavor of things. Our main crew's over on the other side. Of course, Mike and Rachel are doing their setup. And then we've got TJ and Brandon and Rachel and all our reporters kind of doing the game stuff. So our job was literally to what else is going on out here?
Yeah.
So I come in, we take in a NASCAR. They're talking to people. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go check out this other side. So then we walk around to where Union Station is. And that's where Mizzou fans, Drake fans, I was like, this is a whole separate world over here.
Yeah.
And it was all the way down. I'm like, I have now been to 4 entirely different massive party areas that each individually would match anything I've ever seen at a tournament site before. Then we had 4 of them. They were all crowded.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is insane. So then you come back and we do live hits, and we're just trying to tell people everything that we've been seeing. And there's you're just happy. It's this is so cool. There's this over here and there's this over here and there's all these people and everybody's happy. And it's great. It was really, really fun.
I told myself a couple of different times, yesterday, I'm like, I really ought to get out of here for a little bit and, maybe go back to work and get some work done. Or, I probably ought to go do this. Or I literally didn't get a chance to leave this area. It was between NASCAR Park and then the west side of the arena. I checked out a couple of the parties over there. I've not been to the south side of the arena yet.
It's good.
I haven't been over to that area. I haven't been to Union Station. I haven't been over there. But you're right. I mean, the atmosphere, at least around here yesterday, was absolutely phenomenal. It was so much fun. And I got invited to a party yesterday afternoon and I didn't end up making it, but I could see them. They're on the roof of the building that we're in right now.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a rooftop area, up here, right by NASCAR Park. So just all these little pop-up things that are even separate from the main major parties and experiences that we've been talking about for a long time.
And so today I'm curious because I thought one of the cool things that kind of gave NASCAR a little bit of an advantage is the big screen.
Yeah.
Because they could pump in the audio to the game. So they were kind of channel surfing to find what's the most competitive game right now. And so that was really cool. And you had people with blankets just camped up, laying down, lounging, watching the game. That was really cool. Saturday will be even better because it'll be warmer. It was while we had the sun for that portion because we're kind of in between buildings, perfect weather.
It was great.
When the sun was going down, I was like, okay, it's getting chilly. By our 6 or by the hit I did at 5:40, it was chilly again.
Yeah.
So Saturday we won't have that problem. Saturday's going to be warm.
Well, and I think that like
today's going to be warm too.
My wife and kids, I think, are coming out today, this afternoon, and I think I brought lawn chairs. I think we're just going to hang out at NASCAR, assuming that the wind isn't bad. We will probably do that tomorrow too.
Yeah.
Let the kids run around NASCAR, and
I want to bring a football.
Totally.
Throw the football with my daughter, have a beer, watch the games, and just be outside.
I'm sure we'll see you here. Like, I think we're coming back out. Like, it'll be different tomorrow because we won't have a show. And I already told my wife, I said, look, like I'm free all day. So like if whatever you want to do, she went to a KU watch party last night at Chicken and Pickle. So she was on the other side of town watching that. But I'm like, hey, you got to get down here at some point and just look at all the things that are going on around here and bring our kids and, let's just have a good time.
So I'm looking right now, high of 66. Tomorrow is a high of 73. So by the time we get to 66, winds are going to die down to around 15 miles per hour. I'll call that breezy. Like it's windy right now at upwards of 20, 25. It's going to die down a little bit. Then tomorrow, catch some of this. By the time games are getting started, what did we say, 1 to 3 or whatever? 66, 68. The wind does pick up a little bit in the afternoon tomorrow, it looks like, unfortunately, but at that point, it'll
be in the mid-70s at that point.
It'll be warm enough that then it's just a windy day, and that's fine. We're used to that in the springtime. So yesterday was pretty much a perfect marriage of things, and we were being smiled upon because you had the nastiest day of the year so far, probably the day before that. You have today where it starts with wind. Today's going to end up being fine, but yesterday was perfect. It was 60 degrees. It was sunny. There wasn't much wind at all. It was great.
Yeah. How many people do you think are going to make that drive either today or early tomorrow from Lubbock, from Houston, from Des Moines?
I think the biggest infusion you will see is from Lubbock.
Yeah.
I think there are already a lot of Drake people here. There are already a lot of Tech people here too. There's going to be a lot of Tech people here on Saturday.
Think about Houston. They played the first game here locally
at 1 p.m.
not
that much further than Lubbock.
Right. And so they're done. And of course it was a 1 versus 16. I think a lot of people probably figured they would win anyway.
Yep.
But they had the first game here locally on Thursday. They knew that they were in for Saturday. That game isn't until Saturday night.
Yeah.
So you've got plenty of time to make plans, if you want to drive it. You can always fly it, but if you want to drive it, get in the car, drive up here. You've got plenty of time to make that happen if you're in Houston. And then even though the Lubbock game was later and, the Drake game was in the evening, like those fans can make that drive too today.
No question. And the other thing that there were all kinds of rumors that Patrick Mahomes was here yesterday.
Never saw him.
I didn't either. I would be very, very surprised if he's not here Saturday.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. I'll be very surprised if he's not here Saturday.
It's probably, a 30-minute private jet flight?
I bet it's not even 30. It might be 30 by the time you got to load up and get off. But I bet airtime's 20.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be here. It's just my guess. I know that gets people really excited, and that's fun. Like, that's a fun thing, to imagine Mahomes and his crew partying around and
we were talking
in the arena.
We were talking yesterday in the arena because the thought was he might be there for last night's game. Where does he sit? And it was like, well, it's probably in one of the suites because there's no courtside seats at Intrust for these games. So I would imagine it would probably be up in one of the suites.
Yeah, when he goes to games down in Lubbock, they put him right by the bench. But yes, I would agree. For his sake, I hope that's where they put him.
Yeah.
This would be an interesting environment to walk through. What we've seen out here, you'd need a lot of security, and of course he'll get that security, and Wichita will help provide that, which is great. We'd love for Patrick Mahomes to be here. Hope he does, and I think he probably will. And I think it'll add to all the excitement of tomorrow. But come out today. I'll be here a little bit. I might watch. I might have a beer actually and decompress the last 2 days.
Because you're not working today
I don't have
or
TV.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, I've got some work to do, but not that requires me to be on air in any capacity. So I might just decompress the last couple of days, let my voice soak a little bit, watch some I didn't get to watch a lot of the basketball yesterday. We're going to talk about it. You saw more of the games yesterday here than I did. I was outside the whole time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that when we come back. What we saw. We'll get on KU a little bit again here throughout it and more. Sports Daily coming right back.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Daily. It is KFH. We are live over the air with you here. 869-1240 is the number to call. We are also coming to you on our video streams. Facebook, YouTube, X is where you can comment. Watching us on 12 News Connected. We appreciate it. We appreciate Homegrown for letting us come inside and get out of the wind here. We bought a great breakfast here. We can't thank him enough. It would have been a hard day. It would have been harder than yesterday, as cold as it was.
It was a quick pivot, too. I mean, we talked about it at the top of the show, like 10 minutes before we went live.
We almost blew away.
You,
Quite
myself,
literally.
and Tony Dusing made the executive decision that this is not going to work outside.
Yeah.
We've got to figure something else out. And so I jumped in here to Homegrown and talked to the great folks here. And like without hesitation, they were just like, yes, you can absolutely come in and do your show from inside.
Round of applause for Homegrown. We appreciate it.
We gotta get these buttons.
I'm gonna miss these buttons.
You're gonna ask Tony to take this board home and
Great
put it in your home
deal.
studio.
That's right, coming to you live from downtown Wichita.
So bad.
It's a lot of power to have it. No, we were gonna blow away. It is what our show would have sounded like. I'm pretty sure. So yesterday I was out here most of the time. I was out here with the people. We were having fun. I was not inside much. I saw the very end of the Gonzaga-Georgia game. I saw warm-ups for Drake Mizzou, and I think that's all I saw.
Yeah.
So you were inside, though, for more of it yesterday. So what were some of the takeaways from those games that you saw outside of Drake and maybe a player that could be playing for another team in the future? Who knows? But which we touched on a little bit. But what were some of the other things you saw?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the major takeaways, and I was kind of in and out. I didn't watch all the games, and I didn't stay out here late enough to watch any of the Texas Tech game. I watched that one when I got home. But the first game, I mean, Houston flexed for sure. They showed why they're one of the 1 seeds in this tournament and one of the favorites to win the tournament. LJ Cryer is outstanding.
Yeah.
Milos Uzan is outstanding. They've got a really, really good squad of veterans that can score, that can defend. But I think the biggest thing about this Houston team, and the reason why even before the tournament started, I picked them to go all the way, is their discipline. And their discipline starts with Kelvin Sampson. And because of that, and because of just the way that he coaches these guys up, and you watch him on the sideline, like they were up like almost 40 points at one time, and he never stopped coaching. Like that's Kelvin Sampson, and I've got a ton of respect for him. I'd like to see him get a ring at this point in his career. I think he's got the team to do it.
Yep.
I was really, and I know it was a 1 versus 16, but I was really impressed with Houston yesterday.
But we've been impressed with Houston all year.
Totally.
I do think when you get a team that just comes to the tournament, because Alabama State had Auburn scared, sweating a little bit deep into the first half there.
Texas A&M struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
I know they're not a 1 seed, but still.
But to just come out and just handle your stuff.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about that. And if there's any team you would expect to do that, it's a Kelvin Sampson team. So, you had that part of it, and I'm with you on that. Gonzaga, I think, is the big story of our day. Totally. As much as, Drake is a great story. As much as Bennett Sturts is a player that we could envision doing other things, and that is based on absolutely nothing, by the way, other than he's from around here, right? And there are 2 teams that could use his services. That's the only reason we say that. Nothing of substance for anything that I've ever heard of, blah, 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 blah. Gonzaga was the story of yesterday, I think, for this regional, because they just flat dominated. And you kept kind of seeing everybody say the same thing, like, man, they're underseeded. Like the metrics love them. I don't know. There was a time, though, we say they're underseeded, Tommy, when you don't have a strength of schedule in your conference and you struggle, it's where a team like Gonzaga is going to end up. You remember in Omaha when Wichita State beat Kansas, they were a 7 seed, not because they were a 7 seed in the metrics.
Yeah.
They were a 7 seed because they lost games they shouldn't have lost that year and played in the Valley.
Yeah, they were underseeded from a talent perspective.
I don't think they were from a
talent perspective.
Yeah, right. Yes. So they were a 7 seed and they should have been a 7 seed based on what they did over the course of the year, but they weren't a 7 seed.
Right. Same thing with Gonzaga. Like
Yes.
that, from a talent perspective, you look at their roster, and it's a lot of guys that we're familiar with. It's Ryan Nimhard, and it's Graham Ike, and it's some of these other guys that have been around this program, and Mark Few is a veteran coach. And you just look at the talent and the lineup on paper, and you're like, man, how in the world are they an 8 seed? And then you watch them blow out Georgia, and you're like, how are they an 8 seed? But then you go back and look at their overall body of work in the conference they play in, and it's like, okay, I kind of get it from a body of work resume perspective. Talent-wise, they're better than an 8 seed for sure. And as great as Houston is, Houston's going to get challenged at times in this game tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, against Gonzaga. It's really going to mean, I think, that the discipline that I mentioned a minute ago is going to have to be on full force from Kelvin Sampson and his staff with those players, the veteran leadership of that team, to not let Gonzaga's talent overwhelm you. And I think that if any team is most equipped to be able to handle that, it is Houston to be able to do that.
Yeah, it is going to be hard as I'm down with the family not to pop in and check out that game a little bit. But look, Gonzaga this year, okay, they had 8 losses. West Virginia, no big deal. Kentucky, UConn, no big deal. UCLA, no big deal. 2 to St. Mary's, no big deal, right?
Yeah, because St. Mary's is really good.
They had back-to-back losses in January to Oregon State and Santa Clara.
That'll do it.
And if they don't have those 2, I think we're looking at more like a 5 seed.
Yeah.
4 seed. So when you think about that, though, Houston would have had to play them in the next round in the Sweet 16. So I don't there's not really a sympathy component to me for it, because Houston's expectation isn't just to make the Sweet 16. You were going to have to play a team like Gonzaga in the next round, in the round of Sweet 16 anyway.
Right.
So now you have to play them around earlier. Who cares, right? You're going to have to beat those. You got to beat those kinds of teams no matter what you do.
Well, I think, yeah, who cares? But also I think the fact that we talked about the expectations for Houston, and even if it's not national championship / Final Four, it's absolutely second weekend.
Well,
sure. Without a doubt. And so if this team with these players and this coach go home in the second round and don't make it to the second weekend because they fell to Gonzaga on a Saturday, well, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's as simple to say just who cares in that regard.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm trying to say. I guess what I'm saying is, yes, it will be everyone will be disappointed. I'd be disappointed. I pick them to win a national championship. It's not so much that as I don't think it erases their great season, just not the finish that they had hoped for. But at the end of the day, don't get mad that you have to play Gonzaga now. You were going to have to beat teams like Gonzaga anyway. So just beat them, right? If you're the best team, you just beat them.
Yeah.
Is it the luckiest draw? No. Would you rather see UConn as an 8 in the second round?
I don't know. I thought about that last night because, UConn, we're talking back-to-back national champions. They've lost a lot of their team, obviously, and they've had, a stretch of games this year where they didn't perform up to expectations either. That's a toss-up for me because, after watching Gonzaga yesterday, they were making everything. It was interesting because I was in the arena for a lot of the first half of that Gonzaga-Georgia matchup before it got to the point to where, Gonzaga was maintaining about a 20, 25-point lead. I'm going to go do some other things. But it wasn't just that Gonzaga was hitting everything that they looked at. It was the fact that they made Georgia look really bad. Georgia could not hit the broadside of a barn. And it wasn't just that they were missing shots. They were rushing shots. Gonzaga was making them uncomfortable. They couldn't run any offense. At one point, I look up to the scoreboard, and it's 27-3. Gonzaga's leading in the first half. What are we doing here, Georgia?
When I looked up out
what are
here,
we doing here?
This is gross. So, but again, are you going to go crazy because you're playing Gonzaga and not Creighton the way that Creighton played yesterday?
Are you surprised by that? Because I know you had Louisville.
For sure. Yes, because Louisville was playing at home. I'm not surprised Creighton's good in the tournament. Creighton's always flipping good in the tournament.
Greg McDermott has won at least one NCAA tournament game every year in the last 5 years. Creighton wins every year.
They're steady Eddie, yes. And then we mentioned UConn, and then the other one is today Mississippi State and Baylor. Mississippi State's really good. We both think Mississippi State's going to win. I don't know. I don't know what you want. So it sucks, but Houston will be fine. Houston still needs to win.
So, do you think if we're making picks for at least that game tomorrow, Houston Gonzaga. Do you have Houston moving on?
Yes.
Okay.
Am I picking Houston to beat Gonzaga?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even after what we saw
Yeah.
Gonzaga do
You
yesterday.
remember what we saw yesterday from Houston?
Against the 16 seed.
I know.
I mean, let's keep it in perspective here.
But
a little bit.
do you think Houston would have done much worse against Georgia? You know what I mean? Like than Gonzaga did? Yes, I'm still taking Houston. I think Houston's the best team in the country.
Are there early lines out?
Yes, it was 5. I think it was 5. Houston by 5.
Man, you know what? Honestly, and I've got Houston moving on too. I mean, they're my national champion. They're your national champion. I don't think I'm going to touch it, but if I had to, I might take the points. I think it might be a one possession game.
Yeah, I could see that. I just and this is going to be good for Houston is that everybody saw that and is like, uh-oh, here comes Gonzaga.
Totally.
But Houston was fantastic yesterday, and Houston has been, in my opinion, the most consistent team this year with the most the largest collection of impressive wins of any team in the country.
Yeah.
They lost early, and they have so many big wins. And you think back to the first Kansas game, the fact that they were able to come back in that game, like all of these different things with Houston, it's why so many people around here, which I didn't know this was going to happen, but it have been picking Houston to be their champion is because
you've been following them all season and they don't stumble.
They feel, they lost to Auburn by 5. They lost to Alabama by 5 in overtime. This was early in the year. This was in their first 5 games. They lost to San Diego State in overtime. That was in San Diego State was a tournament team. Yeah. That was on the road.
They lost to Tech at home. That's their only home stumble.
And and that was in overtime by 1 point.
Yeah.
All their losses essentially have been in overtime or to teams that are in the top 5 essentially in the country. They have one that's not like that.
Yeah.
Everything else has been a win. They have played so many games that are close, so they're so experienced at it, right? And they've won some of those and they've lost some of those.
And they are the antithesis of Kansas.
Yes.
From a clutch perspective. So, like, you go back to what I said a minute ago, where I might take the points if I had to choose something. I might take the points.
But take Houston to win.
Take Houston to win because it could easily come down to a one-possession game with the way that Gonzaga played yesterday. But Houston has that DNA, that clutch mentality from Sampson to be able to get the win in those
Hall of
situations.
Fame coaches too.
Totally.
I mean,
and people are talking nationally, and I get it, totally understand why they're so focused on Calipari and Patino in the second round.
Yeah, and we got
Sampson and Few. Like that's a hell of a matchup in the second round.
Who I think are both better coaches than Calipari and Patino, by the way. Just my opinion. I think Calipari's one of the best recruiters of all time. But when we're talking about coaching, I'll take Sampson and Few. Now Patino's up there with him. But Sampson, it does not get better than Sampson and Few. As far as just coaching, it does not get better than those two guys.
This might be an unpopular opinion around this area. I really like John Calipari. I didn't used to.
I do too.
He used to annoy the crap out of me.
I'm a big
and now I've embraced it, and I love it. Like watching him on the sideline last night.
Yes,
it's constantly the arms are outstretched wide with his jaw dropped open.
Yes, I'm a Cal
fan. And I love it.
Always because he's been so pro player over the years. That's what's made me a Cal fan. I've always said he's this great. He coached his butt off last night.
He did.
He coached his butt off last night against Kansas. But I'm a Cal fan too. I thought you were going to say you think Kelvin Sampson's a better coach than Bill Self or something. It's like,
no.
You better not say
that.
But
I don't know if they're, other than Patino, we talked about this before, I don't know if there's a better redemption story in college basketball than Sampson.
And I don't know that.
Because he was like the pariah of college basketball for a number of years after his time in Indiana and OU and all of that. I mean, he was an assistant coach in the NBA for a couple of years because he couldn't get a job in college basketball. Yeah, I think he had the sanctions from the NCAA and all of that, and he has absolutely rehabilitated his image.
Yes, he has, and I do think based on I remember never forget IB, Isaac Brown used to tell like, hey, that's the best coach. Like that, as far as like coaching goes, that's the best coach.
Yep.
And I don't disagree with that based on what we've seen at Houston.
I wasn't in the arena in 2018 when they were here last and they played Michigan in that game.
Beater Michigan.
So this was the first time I've ever seen Kelvin Sampson in person, watching him coach.
Oh, really?
And it was great. I mean, just like the steadiness of him and just the demeanor really doesn't change.
For me, it's how prepared his teams always are.
Absolutely.
Like he has to be the best practice coach, right? Because his teams just are always next, and Mark Few's that way too. It's awesome. So then in the other game, we get 2 up-and-coming coaches. Drake Tech is the game I hoped for, honestly.
Yeah.
Great stories. I'm going to be rooting for Tech because they have grown on me because, so many people close to where I grew up are big fans of theirs. I think that community has become one of the great basketball communities in the country. That is going to be an awesome, awesome game. I think there could be fireworks. I think the environment's going to be incredible. I think there won't be, and I'll look after we get through it today, and I'll go back and look at this. I don't think that I would trade any 2 sets of games, like any round of 32, 2 games for what we'll get tomorrow here. I don't think, and I got to look at them and make sure that that's the case. But man, I don't think so.
And honestly, I think, that's it probably ended up the best that it possibly could have with the 8 teams that were here. I mean, maybe you could make an argument about Mizzou over Drake here.
That was
locally.
that was a wash to me. Always was.
But think about geography wise, and we're basically smack dab in the middle between Des Moines and Lubbock.
Yeah.
Right. And so you've got just these dueling fan bases coming in. Drake, they're used to Wichita because they played the Shockers for so long. There are these Wichita connections with Texas Tech, with Luke Barnwell, Matt Brower, like all of that. I can't wait. I mean, it worked out. And I know there were Wichita connections with Mizzou. Sucks for Caleb Grill that he didn't get a win with Mizzou last night. And he didn't, I don't think by his standards, he would say he had a great game. I don't think he was happy with his overall game last night for Mizzou. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but it was okay. And he made some clutch shots when he needed to. But man, I'm so excited for this matchup for both of them. Honestly, I agree with you. I don't think we could have drawn it up any better.
I'll take Drake over Mizzou. I don't know. I don't know if there'll be more fans. Probably not. But that story is one of the stories of college basketball this year. There is no doubt about it. The Division II call up, basically, that is as good a college basketball story as there is.
And not just the coach, the players too, the players that followed him.
That's more.
That's basically a D2 squad.
That's even more impressive.
Yeah.
Right. And it gives I don't remember. Maybe I was talking to you. I don't remember who I was talking to yesterday. TJ Cleveland's the Division II guy. When you go to a Division II school and you get fired up for the athletics at your Division II, you always wonder. When you're watching a really good team, you're like, man, how would they fare if they played? Because they're just as big, right? They're big. Size wouldn't be a thing. You got 7-footers all over Division II basketball, so you're like that wouldn't be it. What is it? What would it be? And when you talk about teams that have been together and they're highly skilled like that have been that successful, that story does not get better than that. Does not get better than that. And Tech is its own redemption story. After they got stabbed in the back by Beard, they're right back. And that's a great – and listen, not only after they get stabbed in the back by Beard, they had a coaching disaster and a controversy with Mark Adams.
Yep.
So what a great story. We've got great games here. All right, let's finish up. We'll put a bow on our thoughts with Kansas yesterday as their season is now done. That's the end of all our teams here on the men's side. The women, K-State plays later today too, by the way. We'll be right back.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Is the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back in, everybody. Glad to be here with you. Shocker Baseball on the road this weekend in New Orleans. They'll face Tulane. Here we go, American Athletic Conference Baseball. You can catch Shocker Baseball all season long right here on 97.5, 1240 KFH. Catch it online, download the app, visit Odyssey.com, search for KFH. Shout out to Crestview Country Club, great sponsor of the program. Probably be a little golf even in the wind here. Got a cool Crestview hat on today. I'm so sunburned. I knew that I couldn't not have a hat on today, so shout out to them as well. Thanks to them for being a sponsor of this show. Bryce emailed us. Appreciate this. And I did put it down for you, Bryce, I had a little bonus bet here. So Bryce emailed. I was asking about a parlay on today. And Bryce says Mississippi State, Colorado State, and St. Mary's on a 3-legger. I put 5 on it, Bryce. So I appreciate that.
I like that actually a lot.
I do too. Even though I ended up with Memphis, it was one of the hardest games of the first round to pick. So I got no problem with that.
I think I picked all 3 of those teams to move on in my bracket.
I did, with the exception of Memphis, I did too. And they were the hardest one for me to pick. So that's not that big a deal. Tommy, Kansas, we'll revisit it because we've been on the air for 4 hours. I know a lot of people are just joining us. They are who we thought they were, right? There were glimmers throughout the season of them being good. There were glimmers of them being the preseason number 1, quite frankly. And there were glimmers of them being really, really bad. And then there were the most glimmers of what we saw yesterday, which was a team that should be doing more, that had absolutely no ability to finish a game. And that's what we got yesterday.
That's absolutely what it was. It was a microcosm of what has, basically defined and encapsulated the entire season. We saw it all in last night's game. And I think that's it wasn't like there was some anomaly that we're like, well, man, where did that come from this Kansas team? That was basically everything that we saw from them. I mean, it was inconsistent play from the guys that should be the most consistent in Hunter Dickinson and in DeJuan Harris and, in KJ Adams until he got hurt. I mean, it was just basically the veterans that should be more consistent really were not, especially Dickinson in the game last night. It was just mind-numbing turnovers in the most crucial times possible late in the game when they had the lead and all they needed to do was close it out and not turn the ball over, and they turned it over like 6 times in a row. Like it's things that have just reared its ugly head more often than not as this season has progressed. The KU team from October, when they were winning against Duke and Michigan State, North Carolina, that's not the team on March 21st. And it has become, I think that everybody wanted to grasp onto who they were, who we thought they should be. That's not the current team. That's not the team that ended the season. It's a lot of the same personnel, but for whatever reason, it's not the execution from this team. And so I'm not overly surprised that that's the way that the season ended for the Jayhawks.
I'm not either. I'm disappointed, though. I am.
Doesn't make it less disappointing.
Because they should have beat Arkansas yesterday.
They should have.
There were so many should have games.
They should have beaten Arkansas, and they could have beaten St. John's.
Absolutely.
And that's
no question.
And there were a lot of, there's been a lot of should have, could have from this team this season. And that's what's made it so disappointing and so frustrating, and why I think that, there's probably going to be some soul searching going into this offseason from this coaching staff on how do they make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, and how do you handle incoming players this way? And again, we haven't – last year's team, it was less disappointing because that team wasn't going to do anything. They weren't talented enough. This year's team was talented enough. They just didn't fit together well. And the players that you brought in to cure what you had last year didn't do any of that for you. So that's a product of the players that returned. There's no question about it. They were hard to fit together.
I saw this question posed on social media last night, and I'd love to get your take on it. Does Hunter Dickinson go down as the most disappointing Jayhawk in history?
No.
I mean, I don't know who else you put in there.
Well, because his production was still really high.
His individual production was high. He wasn't a winner.
No, I think when you talk about, there have been high-level players come in that were total flops. AJ Storr is a bigger disappointment than Hunter Dickinson.
Really?
Oh, yes.
But the expectations were not on the shoulders.
They were on the shoulders. Okay, then Rylan Griffin. Either one of them. Pick either one. Far more disappointing than Hunter Dickinson.
But I think the hopes and dreams of the Jayhawk faithful over the last 2 seasons rested on the shoulders of Hunter Dickinson. Fairly or unfairly, they rested on the shoulders of him. It wasn't lived up to.
I've been as critical of him as anybody. Yeah. I would bet you this year. I think that there have been a lot of things about his game that bother me, but the production, for the most part, was there with Hunter Dickinson. Like, you're not a walking, talking 20 and 10 guy and be the most disappointing player. It just didn't fit what this team needed. I've thought about this a lot. If you put Dickinson on a team that doesn't turn the ball over and on a team that has a couple of shooters, you've got a really, really dangerous team. So I don't want to put it solely on Hunter Dickinson. I want to put it on the fit of Dickinson. Let's you could put as much on. I think DeJuan Harris has probably had a more disappointing season.
I
Than
think
Hunter
DeJuan
Dickinson.
Harris has regressed,
Yes.
which is shocking and surprising because that doesn't happen with Bill Self players.
But there
you always see
again,
them make jumps.
If you put DeJuan Harris on a team that's more athletic, like let's have this exercise. How about this? What about Devontae Graham on this team? Or what about DeJuan Harris with Doak?
I honestly, I think I would take Devontae Graham on this team.
Well, right. But you know that.
And that's solely because of how much respect I have for Devontae Graham.
Okay, insert Devon Dotson even. If we're doing Devon Dotson and Doak. You know, insert scoring first point guard to this team or DeJuan Harris to a team with shooters and a guy like Doak, which is basically what he had when he won a national championship.
Yeah, I think I would still go shot-making point guard first.
I don't even mean that as a, like, pick one. I'm just saying, like, I think it's more of a they didn't fit together.
I agree with you because I don't think any opponents really took DeJuan Harris seriously from an offensive point of view. I don't think that opponents took KJ Adams offensively, seriously offensively from that point of view. I think that it was they knew they had to stop Hunter Dickinson and then, let Zeke Mayo get his or whatever.
That's right.
And it was, so all that was just kind of the game plan.
So to your original question, I think no, Hunter Dickinson does not end up as the most disappointing Jayhawk to me. Not even close. But the fit, like his role and the way he fit into this team is as disappointing as anything.
Yeah.
That's not on him individually. It's not on Bill Self individually. It's not on DeJuan Harris individually. And it's not on KJ Adams individually. Collectively, that group could not figure out a way to make it work.
Here's where I will put a lot of this on the shoulders of Hunter Dickinson because from a stat line perspective, individual production, absolutely. Hunter Dickinson was very consistent in that regard. 20 and 10 nearly every game, right? But there were multiple occasions where when it mattered most,
he's not. Yeah,
he didn't get it done.
But
he didn't win. Like last night is a perfect
how many
example of that.
centers do?
But when that's your role on the team,
your role on the team is to be steady, Eddie. Your role on the team is to be. Tim Duncan wasn't getting the ball in a clutch situation.
There were I disagree with you. There were multiple situations where when Kansas needed to have a bucket, they were looking to him. Whether or not he was up for that, I think, or should have been his responsibility, it just was what it was. They needed him to be clutch, and he wasn't.
I'll tell you what disappoints me about him more than that, because I don't think that's I think lazy pass late in the game. Not getting any offensive rebounds late in the game.
Yeah.
Those are the things that have bothered me about him more than anything else this year. And it's been that way all year. It was hard for him to get up and down the floor. He got tired. He got bullied around down there. That's where I found the disappointment. It wasn't like that he couldn't get them the bucket.
And I didn't necessarily just mean that when they needed a shot, just a shot only, it was him. When they needed him to be steady, or like he was steady, generally speaking, from a statistic perspective, but in key situational moments, whether it was a good crisp pass or they needed a clutch board or he kind of shrunk in those major moments. That's an issue, major issue.
He kind of the bed a little bit.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, and I looked at what his last 4 years resulted, like the end of the season for him with Michigan, and I believe this is correct. Michigan 4 years ago, it was a second round exit in the tournament. Michigan 3 years ago they missed the postseason entirely. 2 years ago with Kansas, it was a second round exit. This year for Kansas, it was a first round exit. Like the winning DNA, the championship DNA from Hunter Dickinson, I don't think that developed the way that everybody thought this marriage between the nation's top player and the nation's best coach would actually come to fruition. It didn't turn out that way.
It did not at all. And it's what I mean. Like sympathy is where I landed before I went to bed last night, because I know how much Bill Self cares for these dudes. I know how much those dudes wanted it to be great.
My wife is here, by the way.
I just saw her. I know that DeJuan Harris cares a great deal about University of Kansas. I know that KJ Adams cares a great deal about the University of Kansas. I know that Bill Self cares a great deal about those two dudes very specifically. Hunter Dickinson, I think, embraced Kansas well. I think it was it was last year combined into this year, and like it was all of it. And everybody needs a reset badly, and they're going to get it. And so now we get to see. I'll go back to what Bill Self said before the game. I don't think that he has any less desire to do this for a living than he ever has before. I think he still loves it. I think he was at a loss with this group, and it goes back to last year. He just could not figure out a way to make it work with this group. Couldn't do it. He had 2 years to do it. Couldn't do it. So now he gets a fresh start. I don't know how he'll attack it. I don't know who runs the point guard for him next year. It's not going to be Diggy Coit solely, but they need a big time.
I don't think it can. I don't think it can. Maybe Darren Peterson's going to run that offense. I'm telling you right now, Darren Peterson's going to run that offense.
And in that point, you're asking a true freshman to run your offense.
The best pure
DeJuan
freshman
Harris
that they've ever had as part of the program. Like just by a pure like statistical perspective, the best pure freshman that Bill Self has ever had with this team by the numbers.
You're talking about Peterson?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to name a name.
No.
But has he ever had a freshman run the offense?
I'm just telling you.
Yeah. So
by the numbers, the best.
He had DeJuan Harris as a freshman run the offense, and they won a national championship. So it can be done, but it's going to be tough, and they're going to have some shot makers if they can get. Priority one in the offseason is to keep Flory Badunga.
Will you miss DeJuan Harris? Will you miss KJ
Sure,
Adams?
I
Will you
will.
miss Hunter Dickinson? Where do you rank them as far as guys like?
I'll miss DeJuan Harris and KJ Adams.
Okay. Not going to miss Hunter Dickinson.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like he was fine. I don't have anything against him at all. Like he's fine. He's a fine player, everything. No, I'm not going to miss the things that frustrated me about him. I will miss DeJuan Harris because I know how much he loves it. I miss KJ Adams because he's one of my favorite people in the world. I will miss them a great deal. I'm not one of the people that are like happy to see Hunter Dickinson. No, I'm not that way at all. But no, I'm not going to like, oh man, I really miss that, But yeah, I'll miss those guys a lot. You're a KJ guy.
No.
Yeah.
I have an appreciation for DeJuan Harris and KJ Adams, national championship, all of that. No,
it's been a blast, everybody. We're going to talk about it Monday. Thanks again to Homegrown for letting us be in here today. For Tommy, I'm Jacob. Thanks, Max, back in the studio. Thanks, Tony, for helping us set it up. Thanks to our guests. We'll see you Monday.